Hello, hello, hello. Testing 1, 2, 3. Lord Tellum, can you hear me? We also have a Noah Game Art here on Twitch. What's up, guys? Awesome, awesome. Can you hear the music as well? Or is it just my voice? I feel like I need to change some settings here on the microphone because sometimes it doesn't pick up my voice. Okay, let me see if... Yeah, the music is dying off right now, but... Start in just a sec. I know you can hear it there. Okay, we should be on YouTube as well. Cool. Should be getting ready. There you go. We got Hassan. What's up, my friend? Hello. Found on YouTube. That's Rita. We got Marius Galden Huis, and Nitesh. What's up, guys? Hello. We're gonna start very soon, okay? How was your week, guys? Was it a good week? Hey, if I don't know what am I doing summer holiday, any advice? Um, any advice? Well, do you have like school or do you have work? If you don't have anything like important to, let's say, or anything that requires a lot of your time, practicing 3D is a really good way to use it. Time. Wolf Girl, what's up, my friend? Welcome. Bartolom says, I'm finishing up the blockout for my character right now. I don't know how people are done with their models already. Yeah, there's a lot of entries already. Any announcements you're looking forward to for Summer Game Fest? That's a good question. When is Summer Game Fest? Probably gonna stream that. We streamed it last time and it was fun. Summer Game Fest. Oh, is it today? What the hell? Is it right now? Oh wow, I didn't know it was today. I've been living under a rock. I gotta confess something, guys. I'm gonna confess something. This week was a great week for work. I was able to push the new course from like, I think we were like at 15% of the completion of the course all the way to like 45%. So I made a massive work improvement this week. And I was able to record like crazy. So I've literally been living like just for the course, and that's why I wasn't even aware that that Summer Game Fest is today. Now I'm not sure if I'm gonna be able to stream because I got things to do on the afternoon. But no, I'm not exactly sure, Marius, what to look for on the Game Fest. Have they teased anything or announced anything? Well, you know what I think they're gonna be announcing, probably, because that's what Capcom used to do, or normally does, is they're probably gonna be announcing the new title update for Monster Hunter. They've already teased a little bit, so there's a very famous monster that's coming back. It's called Lagiacruz, something like that. So hopefully they reveal a little bit more information about that. That would be very cool. I don't think Nintendo's gonna show anything. I mean, they just released the Switch yesterday, so I don't think they're gonna be adding. Well, I'm not sure. Did they announce that they're gonna be there? I don't remember if they said they were gonna be there. Maybe they're just gonna showcase more of the like Nintendo Switch stuff, but I'm not sure if they're gonna be releasing like a big announcement. Blaze Bob, what's up, my friend? What is up? Get my love. You guys see the review of the new tablet? The video from yesterday? Was it yesterday? Yeah, it was yesterday. Got this one right here. The new Canvas 16 Gen 3. It's a really nice pen display. It's got 2K resolution. You might want to check the little review that I did. I'm really happy with it. I was using the Canvas 22. I have it over here for now. I'm probably going to be moving that with my laptop. It's a lot bigger, but I actually like this one a little bit more because of the... I saw the Pragmata one, daily dose of shitpost. That's a nice username. An interesting choice, definitely. So I saw the little sort of like a teaser reveal that they did during the PlayStation. PlayStation had like a live stream, right? I think. Waiting so that we can see the chat. And so I saw that, and it looks interesting. It looks interesting. I'm actually looking forward to Stellar Blade. They're going to be releasing it for PC, I think, next week, Stellar Blade. And I really want to play that one. Okay, that's a great question, Nashkani. So they're asking, which one of the newest courses, or which one of my ZBrush for beginners would you say is the most up-to-date? This one, the Oni. So the Oni course I did probably like almost 2 years ago. It's not that old, and it has the most up-to-date elements, and it's really, I think it's really beginner friendly, because at the first chapter and the second chapter we focus on the tools for ZBrush, and then we switch to doing a character, and as we are doing the character we're learning more and more of the tools. The other one that's really good for beginners, but this is only if you have an iPad, is this one, the ZBrush for iPad one. This one's also very good because it has a couple of exercises. You could potentially use this as well as your sort of like beginner course. Just keep in mind that the location of the tools is not going to be the same. So if you are sort of like again, like confused about the interface, I would recommend the Oni course a little bit more. Let's see. There you go. Yeah, Noah Game saying here that he agrees. It was my first course ever. Very beginner friendly. There you go. Hassan says, I will buy your 3D printing course. Oh, thank you, man. Yeah, this one I really like. This is one of my favorite courses because we did this like print right here. I think I've shown that before. Bring it without destroying it. Duncan. This is the character that we did for the 3D printing. It's mostly an anatomy course, but the last couple of chapters we focus on the sort of like 3D printing aspects of the whole thing. And this is a character that we create during the course, and we go over all of the different muscles. Today we're actually going to be taking a look at anatomy. I wanna show you a little bit of that information. But yeah, during this course we focus on creating this character right here. So we do the high poly sculpt, all of the details, all of the elements, like every single part, and then I show you how I prepare this one for 3D print. This one's not finished. I want to paint it, but at the same time I really like how it looks, just like the 3D printed version. So I'm not sure if I want to to finish it. I don't know. I think it gives it a special sort of like vibe to have him in this sort of like a raw state, right? Like in this 3D printed aspect of it. But yeah, this is I think it's 1/4 scale. I'm not sure if I've shown you this one before, But this is the only. We did this when I was doing the review for the Elegoo Saturn. And this is completely solid, so it's almost like a full kilogram of resin, because I wanted to see if the printer could hold the whole piece as a single element, and it's just one single piece. I printed this as a single element, and so this is what you learn when we go over the ZBrush course. Oni right here. I'm gonna have him here on my desk now. Let's see, let's go here to mainstream. Would you recommend going through the Nomen Workshop courses? Oh, that's an excellent question. Here's the thing, Marius, and I've been like going over the courses over Nomen courses for a decade now. Like ever since I started doing 3D, this was back in 2011. Every now and then I'll subscribe to the Nomen Workshop, take a couple of the courses of the things that I want to learn, and then cancel the subscription. They're really good. They're really good in terms of the information that they're gonna share with you. But the problem with, I would say, most of the courses is that the instructors expect you to already know a lot about the softwares themselves. So if you take, for instance, a character course, they're not gonna teach you the interface of ZBrush. They're not gonna teach you how to sculpt. They're not gonna teach you about anatomy. They expect you to already know most of that information, and they will just teach you some of their techniques and tips and tricks that they use for a particular workflow. So I personally recommend Nomen Workshop when you're already sort of like an intermediate or advanced level user, because at that point you can deal with that. Like even if they forget to explain the tool, you can quickly Google and you know how to look for the answer without having to, again, like be completely out of the loop and not understand what's going on. So the info is pretty good, but yeah, they're not all of them, because there are some that are really good for beginners as well, but not all of them are very beginner friendly. So yeah, that's my general consensus, but they're really good. Like there's a lot of tutorials out there. Like of course I'm not the only one doing education. So once you start exploring all of the different alternatives, you will find certain styles that you like more. Like I've been told that I have a particular way of teaching things that makes it very clear, especially for beginner level students. So that's sort of like my niche, right? Or one of my niches. But every instructor, every course, every platform will have a slightly different approach, and we all sort of like vibe or resonate with different types of teaching styles, right? Some people might like a very structured, sort of like one-to-one follow through of the process. Others might like more of an overview of the whole thing and explore themselves. So it really depends on your teaching, or rather on your learning style. And again, exploring is the only way to find out what works for you. That's why most of the courses, well, not most, all of my courses here on the site, they will have free lessons, so that you can, again, check how you feel about my way of teaching. And if you resonate with me and you like the way I explain things, then just get the course. If not, that's fine. You took the free lessons and you're good to go to the next stage. Antov says, pensaba que iba a ser un reloj de cuckoo en directo, a cuckoo clock. That's not a bad idea, to be honest, but I actually want to go through anatomy today. I want to show you a couple of techniques that you guys can use to learn about anatomy, because I've seen, especially on now with the contest that we're having on the Discord, I do see that there are certain like form and anatomy things that we need to polish a little bit more, and I think this is going to be useful for everyone. Let's see. Hassan says, should I choose between becoming a 3D character artist or an environment artist, or can I be both? Again, Hassan, that's a great question. And it really depends. Let me go full screen here. That's the general, whether to be a character or an environment artist or a props artist or a generalist, that's sort of like the big question that everyone has, right? Like, should I pick something specific, or should I go a little bit more like a generalist? My experience is, if you want to work on big projects, high budget projects, and with very, very talented teams, you usually want to become a specialist, because they will not hire someone that can work on multiple departments. They're going to have very specific departments where your skills, your very specialized skills, are going to be needed. If you want to work in sort of like more stuff, if you want to explore more areas of the industry, if you want to explore other industries where 3D is used, then being a generalist will open more doors for you. So again, it really depends on what your career choice is. Can you be both? Can you be a character artist and environment artist? Yes, but you're not gonna be the best character artist or the best environment artist, right? There's a very famous quote. You guys have probably heard this one, but a lot of people have heard the incomplete quote. It's a jack of all trades, master of none, right? Like that's a quote that we often hear. Jack of all trades, master of none. But the quote is incomplete because it has a second part to the quote that says, but oftentimes better than a master of one. So that's sort of like the main goal or the main decision that you're gonna have to take as an artist. Do you want to know a little bit about a lot of things, or do you want to know a lot about one thing or a very few things? Personally, I like knowing a little bit about a lot of things. That's why I consider myself a generalist, but I do have a special sort of like inclination towards characters. But if you want to be like a professional character artist and go all the way and be, again, working on top studios and things like that, then you're going to be really freaking good at characters. But the moment someone tells you to, hey, can you do something different, you might not be able to accommodate those skills because, again, they're a very particularly set of skills. It's the same thing, for instance, for athletes, right? Like imagine someone who's a soccer player. Of course, if you tell a soccer player, hey, now you're going to go and play a game of basketball, due to the endurance and conditions that they have, they're going to be able to perform okay, but they're not the exact same skills, right? Like they're not going to get tired because they have a lot of athletic endurance, but they're not going to be able to translate that as easily. But if then you, for instance, go to a university and you go to the sports coach, that sports coach might be able to play very, again, adequately or at a very nice level, a lot of different disciplines. So it really depends on how you want to push your particular skills. And that's a decision that everyone does or takes on their own sort of like, with their own expectations and their own decisions, right? Because it's not something that they can tell you, oh, this is better, this is worse. Your mileage might vary, and there's so many other variables. But one thing that I can say is that there are pros and cons to both of the options. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Let's see. Where were we? Could you do a mechanical piece with seam lines? Yeah, let's do that. Why not? Let's do like a mechanical arm, right? Like that way we can explore a little bit of anatomy, and then we can sort of like streamline it to make it a mechanical. You can texture in ZBrush, Sam. I'm not sure why they're asking to do that. That's very weird, to be honest. But yeah, you can texture in ZBrush with polypaint if that's what they're expecting. I mean, you could do it, or with Spotlight. It's another thing. If you've never used it, just look it up, Spotlight, and it's a way to texture. You're only going to be able to texture the diffuse color, so the color map. You're not going to be able to calibrate like a roughness or things like that, but you could potentially do that. Now I remember, will you make a 3D Code hand-painted texture course? Maybe. Roju Lober, what's up, my friend? Hello. We also have Alan as well here. What's up, Alan? Do you curl your hair, or is it all natural? All natural, my friend. Natural. All natural, my curly hair. You guys want to see a picture of me when when I was like gonna go back in memory lane here. I'm gonna show you a picture of when I was in high school. Oh, this is gonna be embarrassing. When I was in high school, I had the longest hair. I don't grow it that long nowadays because it's just very uncomfortable. Let's see if I can find it. Let me see. Lower. Oh, I'm going really back in time now. Those are too embarrassing to show. Let me show one that's a little bit more recent. Yeah, this is not bad. Copy the image. So this is me with one of my best friends. He's actually currently living at what's the word? He's in Italy. He's from Italy. There you go. Look at that, young Abe. This was what, like, probably like 10 years ago. It's definitely probably like 10 years ago, and you can see my hair is really, really long. Like, it was all the way over here. I couldn't grow a beard or anything at that time, but it was really, really long. And all natural. All natural curly hair. Yeah. You guys remember the guitarist from My Chemical Romance, Ray Toro? I think his name is Ray Toro. I always wanted to have the hair like him. So that was my sort of like my inspiration for the hair. No, that's not David. That's his name is Alessandro. He's one of my best friends. He's currently in Italy. What camera are you filming with? The quality is super good. So this one is a Canon. It's a mirrorless M200. I think it's like the M200. It's not that expensive, to be honest. I mean, it is pricey. I'm not gonna deny it. It was like $700 or something like that. Canon M100. I think it's one of these ones. It's cheaper now. But yeah, it was. I think it was this one. Pretty sure it's this one. Similar to that. I don't remember the exact one, but it's a full camera. It's not a webcam. It's a normal full camera. Let's see. Can we use base model in Studio Sinister? Yes, that's very common. I got a low power GPU. It took me 4.5 hours to render a high quality turntable, and after those 4.5 hours, I got the wrong camera. Oh, Rahul, yeah, man, I know, that sucks, man. That definitely sucks. I can identify with your pain, my friend. I know how horrible that is. Okay, so let's grab this mannequin right here. And what I want to do here is I am going to pose the hand a little bit. So I'm going to rotate one of the... We're going to just do one arm, but I want to do a little bit of a flexed arm. Normally, when we're sculpting characters, we sculpt the characters with the arm a little bit more of in a relaxed pose. But in this particular live stream, I want to go through this ones right here. So now that we have this, we need to convert this into adaptive skin. And we're going to make this adaptive skin. There we go. And what I'm going to do is with my select lasso, I'm going to select this arm right here. Delete hidden, break symmetry. We're going to work without symmetry. We're just going to work with this arm right here and delete hidden. Dynamesh. There we go. So this is just a very basic sort of like base mesh. Someone was asking about base meshes just now. And it's one of the ones that's going to allow us to, again, I want to explain a little bit about anatomy and how to approach all of the different elements that we normally have here. So, no, you guys have seen David. Have you guys not seen David? He's on the website. There we go. That's David. That's David. So if you guys have never seen David, there we go. That is our good friend David here. This is the team right now. It's myself and good old David. He's not going to be able to be here today, by the way. He has some personal things to attend to, so he's not going to be here on the chat. But yeah, that's me, and that's David. I thought you guys have seen that photo before. He even has his own photo on Discord. Martin, how are you, my friend? All good. Happy to be here. Very, very happy to be here and sculpt. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to clean this border. By default, when we delete elements, we always get this very sort of like jaggedy edge with the Dynamesh. And it can sometimes cause some issues because you have a lot of like non-manifold geometry, n-guns, just things that are very dirty. So I'm going to use here Trim Dynamic to clean this up. And now let's learn a little bit about anatomy. So for those of you who have taken the anatomy class, the Duncan superhero class, you should remember that there are certain properties that muscles have. I call this I think I called it the muscle properties or something like that. It's one of the videos on the first chapters. And one of those properties is that muscles will always have something called an origin point and an insertion point. Origin, let me get the music down a little bit. I feel like it's a little bit too high. There we go. a little bit better. Have you done any work with ZBrush Core? Yeah, it's really good, Mauricio, just to get the idea of how ZBrush works, but it's very limited in terms of tools. Very, very limited. So ideally, you want to jump to the full ZBrush version. Sir, my parents are pressuring me that why I didn't get a job after completing my course. Priyanshu, that's a great question. What do you mean by a course? Do you mean just like one lesson, like one course that you bought? Or do you mean like a full sort of like university program? That's going to be an important distinction. So in the case of the deltoid muscle starts on the top part of the arm, right? Here on the clavicles and on the scapula. It will generate its volume and it will go towards this area right here, which is the middle of the arm. A lot of people mistake this and make this very important mistake where they don't position the deltoid as far down as it should be. And another very common mistake is people will inflate the deltoid towards the top of the arm when in reality it should be inflated towards the outside part of the arm, because most of the muscle volume is going to be here on the outside. Okay, so we're going to add a little bit of volume right there, and this is what you need to be mindful when blocking in or starting your characters, guys. Don't focus on the fibers of the muscles. Focus on the shapes, okay? On the silhouette of the main muscle and the form that it occupies or that it generates. So in this case, when seen from the side, it kind of looks like a shield. Like the deltoid muscle should look a little bit like a shield. So I'm not worried about each individual separation that we have inside of the deltoid. I'm not worrying about any veins or any wrinkles. No. It's just the general volume and the silhouette of where I would expect the deltoid to be. And that's what we're doing. What are we modeling? We're going to be doing a very cool anatomy exercise here, my friend. And someone suggested that we might be able to do this into like a sci-fi arm or something like that. I think that's a nice idea. I'm thinking like Ultron or maybe like the Silver Surfer. You know, this sort of like hard edge arm exercise. So something like that. Hey, for the ongoing costing, a realistic character's fine or should it be stylized? It can be either option, Nishank. It can be stylized or it could be realistic. I enrolled for a graphic design course which also has 3ds Max, but they didn't thought me well and I'm building my portfolio all over again. Unfortunately, Priyanshu, and what's the word? I just know this Rebels category tag. Did I change that? Unfortunately, Priyanshu, there is a very bad situation going on in the world right now where a lot of schools are opening programs for 3D, and as you mentioned, they really don't teach you what you need to learn. And you end up wasting, well, not wasting, but investing a lot of time and effort, and then you get out and you realize that your portfolio is insufficient. That is, again, an unfortunate situation of how a lot of schools are profiting from how do we say this? From the surplus of people or students who want to learn 3D. And if you had a bad experience, then the best thing that you can do is take as much information as you can from that particular experience and use it to learn all of the things that you're missing. It's very, very disheartening. I'm not gonna deny it. It's very disheartening. It happens everywhere. But one thing that I've noticed is that in countries that are not like first world countries, for instance, here in Mexico, it happens a lot. I've heard a lot of the situation happening in India, for instance, as well, where a lot of studios or schools are opening and they promise you that you're going to learn all of the necessary skills, and then they teach you garbage. Or not garbage, but they teach you very outdated things, and well, that's also not what we're going for, right? So yeah, I know it's a tough situation, and I can understand your parents' frustrations as well. If I was a parent and that happened to my kid, I would be quite angry. But at this point, I would recommend not dwelling too much on the past and focusing on improving the skills that now you know that you need. Okay? Try doing it without investing. You don't really necessarily need to invest a lot of money. Like, you don't need to go and take another career. Now that you have all of the bases and all of the interface, with a couple of courses or with some like research on YouTube and online, you should be able to get to a nice position, okay? Now, here on the arm, another very important thing happens, guys, and that's the pectoral muscle. We're not seeing it too much right now because we remove it, but the pectoral muscle also inserts in the arm. So we're gonna see the insertion point of the pectoral muscle crossing through the armpit right here. Okay, we're gonna go in this direction right here. We're gonna be adding the volume or the general shape of the pectoral muscle. I think I wanna sort of like make it a little bit more strong, so I'm gonna like move it down. And there's a very interesting sort of like play of forms here where the pectoral muscle and the bicep and everything meets, because the bicep is going to be the muscle that's like the furthest down in terms of layers. And then on top of that one, we're going to have the pectoral muscle. And then on top of that one, we're going to have a little bit of the deltoid as well, covering everything, like covering that whole connection. So what I like to do, especially on this like early stages when we're blocking in the anatomy, is I like to create like very clean lines to remind myself where things are supposed to be going. That's the sort of like connection that we're looking for. If you've damaged the arm too close to the body and it fuses, can you fix it without going backwards in history? No, not really. I mean, you can try sort of like hiding certain parts and trying to delete it, but that's why Matt Crafter, it's recommended, especially if things are going to be very close to each other, it's recommended that you try to work with a high enough resolution so that you don't have that particular issue. Now, the tricep is one of my favorite muscles because the tricep is very similar to the bicep, but it's a very big muscle that we have here on the back. It has 3 heads, that's what's called the tricep, or 3 main like muscle volumes, but we only really see 2. The last one is sort of like hidden beneath the first 2. And what's going to happen is we're going to have one here on this side, and this one will contribute to the silhouette of the arm. When you see the arm from the inside, you are going to see the head of the tricep sort of like poking out here on the inside. A lot of people think that it's the bicep that gives us the silhouette from the for the arm, and when seen from the front, the bicep pretty much does nothing. It's a very sort of like elongated element. So we're going to have the bicep right, or sorry, the tricep right here, and we're also going to have another head of the tricep on this part right here. Okay, so that's 2 heads. When seen from the side like this, you should see the volume of the tricep really pushing back. Okay, like really creating that nice or like tricep look right there. And then it becomes very thin as we go towards the tendon. Okay, the tendon of the bicep is going to go in this direction towards the elbow. We're going to see this nice little like volume here for the tricep, and we should be able to see a little bit of that volume as well on the side view, or sorry, on the front view of the arm. So you should see it a little bit right there. There's another muscle that lives here. Does anyone know the name of that muscle? It's like the meat between the hamburgers. So if you imagine a hamburger, this is one of the buns, this is the other bun, and there's going to be one muscle that goes right there, and we sometimes also see it here on the inside of the arm. I'm going to give bonus points to whoever guesses what the name of that arm or that muscle is. Let's see. Yeah, there you go, Tadeo, with the win. Brachialis. Yeah, that's right. That's the brachialis. It's a muscle that goes on this area. Okay. Right here on this area. And it goes all the way towards the forearm. Okay. It supports part of the sort of like rotation and flexing of the arm. Now, the problem with the brachialis, let me see if I can get an image here for you guys. The problem with the brachialis is that unless you're really, really, really freaking fit, you're not going to see it. It's one of those muscles that's very, very difficult to see. So you can see it here. Even on this arm, it's very, very difficult to see. You see the bicep and then sort of like a dip right there. And then this thing right here, that's the tricep. So you need to be extremely, extremely strong to be able to see a little bit of the brachialis. Here you can see it. Like that little bulge that we see right there, that's the brachialis. Okay, and then it sort of like blends or merges with the next muscles that we're going to talk about, which go towards the forearm. So bicep right there, tricep right here. And as you can see, we get a very, very interesting sort of like cross right here, like this, because this is where the bicep is going to be. Right, we can give this bicep a little bit more volume. There we go. Let's see. Hello, is the screen intentionally cropped for some reason, or is it a bug at my end? I think it's a bug on your... Oh, wait a second. What the hell, guys? Why didn't no one tell me about that? No, that's my fault, man. Sorry. Talking like a madman here, trying to explain stuff. Of the resolution. There we go. Sorry, Diomedes. There we go. So again, this is the volume that we're going to be adding for the bicep. Now we're not going to make a super strong arm. I want to have something a little bit more realistic, right? Like I don't want to like super buff this guy out. We're going to have something like this. So now we have the volume of the deltoid, the volume of the bicep, the volume of the tricep, and a little bit of the volume of the brachialis. I'm actually gonna push the brachialis in. I wanna inflate the bicep a little bit more. Same for the tricep. There we go. On the inside, you also will see the brachialis, because as you can see, the brachialis goes across the arm. So it is possible to see it sometimes, but again, it's a relatively complicated muscle to see. So what we're gonna see most of the time here on the inside of the arm is a little bit of like a groove, where we separate again the main tricep from the bicep. Let's see, did I miss any brachiosaurus? No, okay, see, that's a dinosaur. That's a dinosaur, man. Let's. Arena says, sadly, when you end your formation, it's only the beginning. Yep, that's it. Priyanshu, that's one of the first things that I want to tell you right now, and I need you to listen carefully. And of course, this is not only for you, this is for everyone out there who's under the age of 25, okay? We were sold the idea when we were really young that we needed to have our life figured out by the time we were 25. And we always compare ourselves to some of the big successes out there, like Zuckerberg or like Elon Musk or like all of these guys who made $1 million or $1 billion very, very fast, very early in their career. That's not the rule, man. Like, it's totally not the way the world works. Like, that's a 0.0000001% of people who manage to do that, okay? So it's totally fine if you don't have your life figured out at 25. When I was at Nomen, one of my peers, he was 45 years old, and he was just starting 3D, and he landed a job, I believe, at Disney after he graduated as an animator or something like that. I think it was Disney Television. So, 45. At 45, he started his 3D career, he worked on his craft, he made sure to have a nice portfolio, and boom, he was able to land a job in a very nice studio. It is possible to discover what you're going to be doing and to find your sort of like path in life as you keep getting older. 25, it's nothing. I can tell you, when I was 25, and again, this is like almost like 8-9 years ago, I had no idea what I was gonna do with my life, man. I had no idea. I also felt like a failure, because at that time, when my parents were 25, they already had a house, they already had kids, my dad had a stable job and everything, and I was just like figuring shit out. So don't feel pressured by the fact that you're 25. You still have a lot of time going forward. But what you do need to do, this is very important, you need to figure out what you want and start working towards it, okay? Because if you just stay at home and feel sorry for yourself and are sad all the time, that's not gonna work, okay? It's not gonna allow you to push forward and get to the next level. So you need to find or know what you want and start working towards that goal. Small steps, or as big steps as you can make. Because if you don't do that, then it's just not gonna work, okay? It's not gonna work. I remember also reading this at least gave me a lot of hope when I was like learning about all of this business things and 3D and things like that. There are a lot of authors and there are a lot of successful people who made their debut like really old. I think J.K. Rowling, for instance, I know there's a lot of controversial opinions about her right now. I'm not going to get into that. But she started writing the books when she was like 45 or something like that. And she made a fortune. The guy that created KFC, I think, Colonel Sanders, right? Like that guy also started KFC when he was like 60 years old or something like that. So we got a ton of time. I still consider myself pretty young. I'm 33 years old. And I know that I have a lot of things to learn and a lot of things to improve. So it's very important that you understand, guys, that there is time, but you need to make good use of that time. That's the sort of like the, what's the word? That's sort of like the goal or the like the best mindset that you can have. Find what you want. So if 3D is what you want, work every day so that you can get to that specific situation. Okay. I'm gonna load that one. No, I can see. I can see the 3D maniac. I can see your comment. Thumb97, thanks you for the sub. 11 months. Thank you very much. And hello, I'm doing great, man. Doing great. Backer Draw, for instance, says I'm 39 years old and less than a year in 3D. Like, I want to learn more things when I get older. One of my sort of like a bucket list things is I want to learn how to do like blacksmithing. I know that's very geeky. Well, not super geeky. Well, I don't know how you guys would consider that, but I want to learn how blacksmithing works. And that's another thing. Like you can learn a lot of things as you get older, and you will find some success in some of those things. And then you will find that there are things that you're not good at. For instance, I suck at sports. I'm not really not good at sports. But that doesn't mean I cannot enjoy doing a little bit of exercise or playing or doing things with my family, right? Like the thing, like there's so many things you can do. Okay, so here what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna find where this bone is. You guys wanna do a quick exercise here for anatomy? This is a very fun one. If you grab 2 of your fingers, this is how doctors usually touch your body to explore it. If you grab 2 of your fingers and you touch this little like spiky bone that you have right here, this is the ulna, okay? The ulna has like a hook shape and it hooks into your humerus, which is the bone that we have on the arm. So if you touch your ulna right here, you should be able to crawl all through the forearm, all the way until you hit this little bone right here on your pinky finger. Okay, so where your pinky finger is, there's a little bony protrusion right there. That is part of the ulna, and you can follow all that road of the ulna until we get to the little hook right here. So I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna find where that ulna is, which will be right here. Okay, and then with a line, oh, that's too much. I'm gonna do it right around there. And then with a line, we are going to be pushing this all the way to where the pinky finger is, which will be right here. So if we draw a line from that point all the way to the pinky finger, there we go. We're going to be segmenting our forearm into 2 sections, okay? So it's one section of the forearm, it's this one right here, and another section of the forearm is this one right here. We're going to be using that in just a couple of minutes to find some of the muscles that we have. Now for the ulna, I do like to create like a 90-degree angle, because it's again like a very sort of like spiky part right there. And what's gonna happen here is the tricep has 2 heads. Well, I already mentioned it has 3 heads, but it has one thing that's called the long head of the tricep, and then there's another one called the lateral head. So the long head of the tricep, as you can see right here, it's the one that's closer to the body, on the inside of the body, and that head is very long and very big. So if we draw the lines right here, it's gonna go in this direction, and it's gonna go all the way to that bone protrusion right there. So we need to add more volume on this area. Okay, so like hugs the arm completely all the way to that part right there. The lateral face, or the lateral head right here, it has a lot of volume on the upper part and not a lot of volume on the lower part. So what you're gonna see right here is that this thing is also gonna go towards that like bone that we just drew, right? Go, but it's gonna be a lot thinner. So as you can see, when we see it from the side, we're not going to see too much volume in here. Yes, there's going to be some muscle fibers, but again, it's a lot less elements. Martin David says, you please review this portfolio real quick. This guy is teaching my friend 3D in an institute. No, man, I'm not going to review a portfolio. First of all, I'm not going to review a portfolio right now because we're not in portfolio review. And I'm never going to review a portfolio of someone that did not submit the portfolio for review. That's just like asking for trouble. So no, my friend, I can't do that. But what you can do, Martin, like just go and look all of the portfolio reviews that I've done in the past and compare to like the level from the portfolio that you're trying to show me. And you can see the kind of stuff that I would advise, right? Let's see. I see 16, 18 years old doing cool stuff, and I feel like I'm too late. I'm 24, by the way. Game Day, this is another quote that I'm going to give you, and it's a very important quote. You need to really, like, get this in your head. There is never a surplus of quality work. So don't worry about others doing amazing things. Please. Like, it's stupid. Don't worry about it. Yes, they're going to be doing great things. Awesome. Cool for them. I really hope they keep doing more stuff so they can keep inspiring us. If they can share some of the ways that they do it so that we can learn from them, that's even better. But let them do amazing things. You need to worry about you doing amazing things, because if you get to that level, the quality level, believe me, you are gonna have, or you're gonna find the opportunities to be able to do that. So don't worry, don't compare yourself to others. You don't know what anyone else is going through. And that's another important thing, guys. And I know this is sort of like a life advice, and I'm not sure if I'm the most authorized person to be giving this sort of like advice. But comparing ourselves to others sucks so much, man. It's important to, of course, like check where everyone else is and achieve or try to go for like a better portfolio and things like that. But you don't know what others have or don't have on their lives. What if, and again, I'm just going to make it hypothetical here, what if one of those persons that you're seeing online with an amazing portfolio has a very shitty life, and all they have for them going in a good way is their portfolio? Maybe their family hates them, maybe they are living in a very sort of like underprivileged like society, or I don't know, like there's so many things that could be going wrong in their lives, and you're judging them based on just their portfolio. It's like, oh, fuck that guy because he's so good. No, that's not the way to go. And it's the exact same on the other way. Like, if you see a portfolio that's not as good, like, you're not gonna make fun of that guy. It's like, oh, look at this sucker with this awful portfolio. No, because we don't know what anyone else is going through. So that's why it's so important to be compassionate and to be understanding of what everyone is doing, because we're all having our own battles. Okay. Do you think character artists should be using MetaHuman from Neon Real? That's a great question, Vishal. I think you should know how to use it, but I still think that you should know how to do it on your own as well. Because if the project allows for, what's the word? If the project allows for the use of MetaHuman, it's gonna save you a lot of time. But if the project is a little bit more stylized or it doesn't allow for that, then yeah, it's not gonna work. Are texturing marmors not actual mesh that can be printed? Yeah, no, they cannot be printed. At Crafter. Where can we learn anatomy as a beginner, Manaf? Well, I'm gonna do a little bit of what's the word, advertising here, but I do have a course. I have this one. It's called Anatomy for 3D Artists, from Sculpting to 3D Print. It's where we do this character that I have over here, Duncan, and we go over all of the different body parts: torso and arms, legs, feet and hands, head and skull. We refine, we design. It's a very complete course. You can see some of the reviews that we have right here. People really like them. So if you want to check, we have a couple of free lessons there for you to review. But that's one way to do it. A couple of books that I recommend for people who are learning about anatomy: George Bridgman's, do I have it here? So these are the 3 books that I used to learn when I was starting. ZBrush Digital Sculpting, Human Anatomy by Scott Spencer, Madeline Scott Spencer now. So you might find this one on Amazon, or maybe there's F version. It's a really good one. It also goes through all of the different like bony parts, all of the muscles, all of the forms, and you also do a superhero character. So again, very good book. It's a little bit old though, so some of the tools from ZBrush, this was like 10 years ago, so some of the tools are no longer there. Like, we didn't have Dynamesh back then, for instance, so that's a big change. This one's an excellent one. I love Born Hogarth. Born Hogarth Dynamic Anatomy. It's another great one to understand and learn. This is more for drawing or painting, if you're going to be doing that kind of stuff, but just for understanding the forms and all of the different like angles and things like that in the human body. Really, really good one as well. And finally, my favorite one is Bridgman's Drawing from Life, Complete Guide to Drawing from Life. Another great one to draw or to learn how to draw from, and also a great way to study and understand all of the different like parts of the forms. I'm sorry that it's very blown because of the light, but hopefully you can see some of the diagrams and information right there. Drawing from school. I know who did this. It was not me. Anyway, so yeah, those are some of the books that I would recommend. And of course, Anatomy for Sculptors is another great one. I'm looking for a reference site that show really nice close-up images of skin details. Any recommendations? Ellery, yes, of course. We recently did a showcase and we had a nice sponsorship by our friends at 3DSK. So 3DSK is probably the best site for that kind of reference. Hopefully we don't get any nudity here. Just be careful, there is nudity, but if you go here for head textures, HDI textures, photogrammetry images, there's a lot of information here for the HD face skin texture. So if you want like really, really high quality images, here. They do have some free stuff. It's also paid, so you buy credits and then you get the images, but it's really, really, really good. Okay, what was I talking about? Saludos, Play Martín, saludos. ¿Tienes 6 años? Martín, estás muy chiquito. 6 años. Bienvenido. Espero que te guste el contenido. Hey guys, he says he's 6 years old. I'm not sure if that's true or not. I'm gonna believe Martín. So that's why we gotta behave. Oh, nice, nice. Your dad is a 3D artist and you like 3D as well. Oh, that's awesome, man. That's awesome. Let's see. I've booked how to work out. There's a lot of anatomy, how muscles are located, and how they work. That can work as well. Plubby through this says, "Hey there, was watching one of your videos this morning. Oh, welcome to the stream, man. We stream every Friday. Every Friday. Okay, so here's where the fun's gonna start. There are a couple of things here on the bones of the arm. Here. Oh, this is beautiful. Take this into. I get excited about anatomy. I don't know what it is. I was looking at a video the other day and says that artists, we tend to be quite psychotic or a little bit crazy, and anatomy, I don't know why anatomy sort of like brings that or takes that from me. Like I really like anatomy. I'm very passionate about learning all of this like intricate things. So this is the tricep we were talking about, it right? So this is the long head of the tricep. Let me create a new layer. Oh, this is one of the long heads of the tricep. There we go. What brush am I using? Very weird brush. Okay, so long head of the bicep, short head of the bicep. You can see that this one, the volume goes pretty much all the way towards the bone. We have this like thing right here, and this one's a little bit less. Now, this little thing right here, that's a little thing that I told you to be able to touch right here. That's your bone. That's the sort of like the claw of the ulna. And this guys right here, these guys have a very interesting name. They're called the epicondyles. Epicondyles, okay? And we have a medial epicondyle, medial meaning closer to the center line, to the medial side of the character, and we have a lateral epicondyle, okay? The epicondyles are part of the humerus, okay? The humerus is the bone, again, from the arm. So what's gonna happen here is that we're gonna have muscles attaching to that specific part of the bone, and they're gonna be generating all of the volume right here. And those muscles are what we normally refer to as the flexors and the extensors. So when you see the hand, this inside of the hand, okay, I'm gonna just give the hand a little bit more of a shape so that we can really see what's going on. So imagine we have the thumb right around there, okay? So the palm, fingers, there we go. So on the inside of the hand, we are gonna have the flexors. So the flexors are gonna be born on this side here, on the outside part of the arm, and they're gonna go towards the wrist, okay, towards the hands, because those are the flexors that allows us to flex the fingers. All of those are the flexors. Actually, let me modify something here with the arm, because this is a very weird. That's fine. We said we wanted to do a twisted arm. That way we learn a little bit about anatomy in a pose. So those are going to be the flexors, and they're going to be going again towards the wrist. And then on the inside, on the medial epicondyle, we're going to have the flexors. They're going to be on this area right here. And they're going to be going towards the back side of the hand, okay? Because they're going to extend the fingers. Those muscles, the flexors and the extensors, are the muscles responsible for giving us the silhouette that we normally see with the arm. Like this sort of like chicken leg silhouette, right? Like where it's have the arm, again, deltoid, bicep, tricep, this shape right here, flexors, extensors, okay? Sorry, flexors on the inside, oh my god, I'm totally messing up. Flexors on the inside, extensors on the outside, okay? Extensors go to the back of the arm, flexors go to the front of the hand. Okay, that's the, again, sort of like general direction. So all of this one's right here on the inside, sorry. Little mental hiccup right there. All of this muscles right here, they will go to the inside of the hand, the flexors. And all of this ones right here will go to the outside of the hand, the extensors. Okay? That's the general sort of like construction of those main muscle masses. We actually have like 20, if I'm not mistaken, there are like 20 or 24 different muscles or something in different like layers for all of the different like movements that we have on the hand. But as artists, we just learn the general forms. We don't need to learn every single specific muscle. Let's see. Can you change the shader? Yes, I can change the shader. Let's try this one right here, but I'm gonna go with a lighter ambient. That better? I'm also gonna change the gradient here so that you guys can see it better. That look better for shader? Celestialis, yes, we have that planned. We're gonna have a female anatomy course. Yes, we already talked about that last year. I'm working on a course right now, which is secret. I'm not gonna spoil what it is yet. And then we're gonna have, it might be, the next one might be the female course. I'm not sure if it's gonna be the female course or if I'm gonna go back to the environment course. Really, I wanna have my revenge at the environment course. Last time I couldn't crack it. It was not flowing. Okay, so here again, flexors, this one's right here, and extensors here on the back of the arm. The wrist right now, it's way too small, so I'm just gonna go with my inflate brush, and I'm gonna inflate the wrist a little bit more. There we go. Jafum, welcome, my friend. Welcome, welcome. Is it already possible to post entries for the contest or not yet? Not yet, Murka. We're waiting. This weekend I'm gonna be showing you, or I'm gonna be opening the submission post, because I need to do one submission post as an example of how you need to submit. Okay, but it's this weekend. I would like to ask a few questions and get your opinion. Of course, Jafum. Yeah, feel free to ask them. Drop them here on the chat. No software giveaways with the contest this time around. Oh well. We're working on that. We're waiting to hear back from some of our sponsors. Hopefully, we'll be able to get something for you guys. But we did increase the prize pool, the money prize pool, and we do have the tablets giveaway. So already the amount of prize money is bigger than the first time. Is it better to use C-sphere models or the generic models of humans in ZBrush? Both of them work. Whichever one you feel the most comfortable with, Mathcrafter. I personally like use C-spheres when the models doesn't have like traditional proportions, and if we have traditional proportions, I'll just use like a traditional base mesh. Are you going to whatever they should? Okay. I've been in the 3D world for 2 years. I've just finished a higher degree and I'm going to enter an advanced mastery in props environment. And the truth is that I'm at a very confused point. I don't know how to approach the work environment. I only see offers that ask for people with more than 6 years of experience. And in the courses that I have been, they don't help you enter in the work world. I would like to give me some advice. Okay, so Jafum, the three main pieces of advice that you need, and Wolfgar, thank you for the bits. The main three pieces that I can give you is you need to have a really good portfolio. The portfolio is going to be your presentation letter. It's what's going to open the door for possible interviews, for meeting people, for going to conventions and showing that kind of stuff. And the second part is network. You do need to start networking and meeting more people that could potentially be part of the team or the employers that are going to hire you. So if you don't have an industry near where you are, like if there's no conventions or meetups or things like that, you might need to start getting more of a presence online. So sharing your stuff in forums, in Discords, just getting to know people, that kind of stuff can really help you, again, build up a network that can eventually get you into a position to find your first job. Don't worry too much about studios asking for 6 years of experience. If your portfolio is really good and you can justify that you only have, let's say, 2 or 3 years of experience, but your work is really good, most studios are willing to work with you and find a compromise. The reason why they tend to ask for, again, 3, 6, 5 years of experience is because they don't want to hire someone who's like 18 years old for a big project, right? Like when they have smaller projects, it's a lot easier to hire junior artists, but for bigger projects, they cannot risk it. But if your portfolio again is good to help you there, then it's gonna open doors for you. Adiós, amigo, me gusta lo que haces y quiero ser artista 3D. Seguiré viendo para ver tus videos. Mucha suerte, mi estimado, mucha suerte. Aquí estamos para cualquier cosa. Your screen is too big. Fix it, man. Yeah, I think you might be watching the early stages of the stream, Anupam. I fixed it. I fixed the aspect ratio. I made a stylized character. Do you want to check the anatomy? I'm not checking any portfolios right now, man, because otherwise we would spend the whole day just talking about that. What do you think is the best way of showing the clay renders of the character submitted? I also do retopology of the character. Should I render the high poly versions or the retopologize with normal textures? Do you mean for the contest, man, or do you mean for your portfolio? That would be a different version or answer for both of those things. Those years I've learned a lot from you and also getting motivated from 3D. I do feel overwhelmed because I'm the type that loves everything in 3D. Watching your videos keeps me. I want to ask, when did you start picking up 3D? I started when I was 18 years old, actually. 18 or 19 years old, back in 2011. That's when I first started my 3D journey. Been doing this non-stop for the past 14 years now. Okay, so now I'm going to show you guys one of my favorite muscles on the arm. And this is called the brachioradialis and the extensor carpi radialis longus and extensor carpi radialis brevis. It's 3 muscles, okay? 3 muscles, but it's very easy to remember them. It's this one's right here. Brachioradialis. So the brachioradialis, here's the fun thing about muscles, guys. And this is a very easy way to sort of like remember them. The name of the muscle will always tell you about things. Of where the muscle is or what the muscle does. So the brachio is arm, radialis, radius, it says I'm going from the arm to the radius, so brachioradialis, okay? And the brachioradialis, as you can see right here, it starts all the way up here on the arm, on the humerus, in between the bicep and the tricep, goes over the articulation, the elbow articulation, and it goes all the way to the little like point here on the thumb. So it goes from here all the way, like all this direction, right here. I don't have a super strong one. I'm trying to flex a little bit right here, but you can see it right there, okay? You can see how it generates like a little bit of a groove right here. And on this side, there's going to be another groove that's going to be generated right there. Again, I'm not like extremely buffed or anything. So it starts right here on the top part. And when you bend the arm, it sort of like punches or sort of like gets a little bit more form, more volume. So in this particular pose right here, I would expect this brachioradialis to be a little bit more protruded. And this is going to change the silhouette of the arm. It sort of like merges its volume with the extensors, or like overrides them pretty much. You're going to see it right here. If you're stylizing things, that's the muscle that you tend to exaggerate a little bit more, okay? The brachioradialis and the extensor carpi radialis longus and brevis. It's three muscles that generate this sort of like package. It goes down here, then it goes forward, towards where the thumb would be. Okay, very, very important muscle. One of my favorite ones because it generates a lot of silhouette. Hola amigo, me acabo de suscribir de El Jugueño Web. Gracias, mi estimado, gracias, bienvenido. Quads and calves, yeah, those are fun as well. Cuando vienen portfolio se refieren al perfil de ArtStation o un PDF o ambos. Usually, Juan, it's the ArtStation portfolio, especially for us as modelers and prop artists and static images, right? It's that. If you're an animator, you're gonna be sending them like a Vimeo link or like a YouTube link with your animations. If you're a VFX artist, you're probably gonna be sharing a video as well. What you're referring to, the PDF, that's more like the CV, okay? CV. Let's see. You can answer for both the contest and the portfolio. For the contest, it's just one clay render, no topology required because topology is not part of what the things that we're going to be evaluating, Urgot. But for a main render, yes, a wireframe is recommended. Like if for your portfolio, having a clay render and then a wireframe render, all that kind of stuff, it's useful. What is your opinion on RISM and 3D code? RISM is really good, but I do find it to be a little bit too niche. Like, you don't really need it. I have it. I got a license last year during Black Friday, and it's good. It's good. It definitely optimizes UVs quite a bit, very, very nicely. But again, it's not really necessary. It's a really nice tool if you can afford it, but you're not gonna need it. And most studios are not gonna buy a license for you just because they need it or whatever. So it's important that you know how to do UVs without it. That will be one of my main points there. But if you can afford it and you're gonna be doing like freelance stuff, then yes, it's really good. As for 3D code, excellent. It's really nice, especially for hand painted stuff. It's really good. But even for sculpting and retopology, it has some really, really powerful tools. They recently added a tool that I think it's one of the first times that I've seen that tool in a software, where it's a tool that reconstructs the high poly from the normal map. So you input the normal map and they get you, or they sort of like reconstruct the high poly from it. Very, very interesting. Just out of curiosity, why Huion only give away a canvas 16 inches? Is there a reason why not a 24 inches, for example? Is there an agreement? Yeah, I mean, companies usually have a budget for when they sponsor things. I mean, they're giving away for free, and they're giving two. It's two canvas 16 Gen 3. So it's one for the community winner or the community pick, and one for the judges pick. So it's two of those tablets for the contest. And it has to do, yeah, with agreements and with the budget that they have as a company. Marmoset Viewer is a good tool for the portfolio. Yes. If it's optimized enough for Marmoset Viewer, it's a good thing to have. I think I need to push the volume here a little bit more, and I still feel like my wrist is a little bit too thin. It's a little bit too skeletal, right? Like a little bit more like too much like a zombie. What I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna start giving a little bit more volume, especially because the arm is flexed. So we would expect to see a little bit more of this. Or like volume and information, right? The hand looks horrible right now, so we're gonna have to replace it. Now, there's another little muscle called the Anconius muscle. This is a muscle that is on the back part of the arm. and it looks like a little Dorito, like a triangle shape. There we go. You can see it right here. It's immediately below the brachioradialis and the extensor carpi radialis longus, right here, and it goes towards the ridge that I talked about on the bone. So remember this ridge that we talked about? So if we go to our brachioradialis, there we go. I'm gonna go from this point right here back. I'm gonna fill all of this area with. That's the anconius muscle. And that's important because it generates a line, this line right here, from where all of these extensor muscles are going to be going towards the back of the hand. Usually, again, in most, again, strong people, you're just going to see two muscles right there. So it's going to be this one right here, and another one right here. It's usually those two. Again, you need to be really dehydrated and really, really ripped to be able to see more of those muscles. Most of these things sort of like just blends with the rest of the hand. Goody, what's up, my friend? Hello. Welcome. Welcome back. I have an idea what to tell in CBN portfolio, but what about the cover letter? I'm going to be perfectly honest with you, Dancer. I have not sent a cover letter in years. Like, I don't know when was the last time that I sent a cover letter. It's been a long time. I've been very, very fortunate to be able to get most of my freelance work directly from like recommendations. So I haven't been in that situation. So I don't think I'm the best one to give you an advice on how to make a good cover letter. But from what the things that I've heard about is try to tailor it towards a very specific reason why you want to work in that specific studio, right? Like talk about the games that they've done or the products that they've created, how you admire those kind of like things. Like just make it so that it's very easy to understand that you know who they are. Because I've had this before where we've put out, like, for instance, some like we're hiring and we get some candidates and we ask them, hey, do you know what we do? It's like, no. Like, dude, come on. Like, you didn't even take like 5 minutes to research the company you're applying for. Are you just like blindly applying? So that's not a good lookout, right, for your interview or for sure like your initial contact. So if you can again tailor that cover letter in a way that it shows that that you know about that company, that's a good way to make a good first impression. Jordebo says, hi, Ave, just ordered the Huion canvas. Thanks for your review. Are you using? Yeah, I'm using it right now. Here. Go. Look at the colors. Like, I was really, really surprised by the colors. They look very, very nice, and there's barely any reflection. Like, you can barely see, like, of course, if I shine it straight to the light, you're gonna see the reflection. But even here, like, the angle is really, really good. So, especially here in the studio where it's very bright, I'm really liking it. I'm gonna say one more thing, and this is gonna be the lazy part of me talking, but I was getting a little bit tired of the 22-inch. Like, I have it right here. A lot bigger, but it's full HD, so the resolution is it's okay. It's not bad, but it's not the same as this one that has 4K. And the problem was, or things that I was suffering from, is that you had to move the arm a lot. Like, if I wanted to draw, I had to draw and move the arm a lot. And for sculpting, I don't really think that's necessary. It's really good for drawing and for painting, but for sculpting, it was definitely getting a little bit tired. So that's why now with the 16-inch, right on the spot. Right on the spot for sculpting and for work. Does it have the sparkle effect on the screen like the Huion Canvas 16 Pro 2.5K? What's that sparkle effect? I'm not sure. I don't think so. Like, it looks very matte, like very flat, so I like that's one of the things that I like, Drachmus. Let's see. I took part of a hiring manager's debrief. They share a lot of information on what to do, and cover letters was one of them. They recommend you research the company and put why you want to work with them. Exactly. Try to address one of their titles and why you like it, and also a bit. Exactly. Like it would be. I find it stupid to apply to a studio and not at least know what they do or why you would like to work there. Like, are you just like shooting for anything that lands, or doesn't make sense? So yeah, cover letter should be something that tells you, or it's a sort of a way to say, hey, I know who you are, I know what you do, and I would like to be part of that. That should be the cover letter. Yeah, Jordebo, I agree with that. It can get a little bit tiring after a while, and that's why I really like this one, the 16. I feel like it's a good size. I'm not sure if I would like to go just a little bit bigger, like a 19-inch. I know that Huion has a 19-inch as well. I don't know if that would be like a good addition or not. But for now, this one feels perfect. The first tablet that I ever had, like the first pen display tablet that I ever had, was a 16-inch as well, and I loved that tablet. I used it for like 4 years, I think. Amazing tablet. I actually gave that one away to a friend of mine who was starting her career. She's learning 3D as well, or digital illustration or something like that, and she needed a tablet. I was like, hey, go for it. Yeah, of course, Jiggly. We're gonna keep we're keeping the live streams on now, exactly because of that. So it's gonna be here on the channel. I think I have issues with tablets that's not display tablet. The first tablet that I had was not a display tablet. Like for a long time, I was working with a Wacom Intuos, an Intuos tablet. They're very good. Don't get me wrong. If you work at a studio, most of the time they're gonna give you one of those. Like not every studio has the budget to buy pen displays, but pen displays have been getting like way cheaper this past couple of years. I remember again 10 years ago having a Cintiq. You were rich. Nowadays, you can get a very nice tablet for very little budget. Okay, let me replace the hand. I'm gonna cheat a little bit here. It's not cheating, but I'm just gonna save myself a little bit of time because I don't want to do every individual finger here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna delete the hand right there. Go. And I'm gonna just insert multi-mesh. So VI, and then body parts. I'm gonna use this male full arm. Ah, that's the opposite. Okay, we're gonna have to mirror this. There we go. Okay. Get the base mesh of the hand. This so that we don't have any of this information. Dynamesh. Awesome. Yeah, there we go. All we need to do. Now we need to start polishing sort of like the connection here and just making sure that it looks as nice as possible. I'm not sure. I feel like the hand looks a little bit small actually. Make it just a tad bit bigger. Hands are one of those things that you can exaggerate the size a little bit and it's gonna look fine. It's actually gonna make the character look a little bit more powerful as well. His hands are like eyes, they're very expressive. You can generate a lot of expressions. Now, one of the things that I want to do here is I want to bend the hand a little bit. So kind of like, so instead of having the hand like this, I want to sort of like bend it. There. Instead of having it like this, like completely straight, bend it a little bit. It's gonna give me even more expression. So sort of like break it a little bit. There we go. Actually, I remember seeing in The Witcher 3, the making of The Witcher 3, the models, they were not in the traditional T pose or the A pose. They were this sort of like puppet pose or something with the hands sort of like folding forward. It was a very weird decision, but I'm guessing that's part of like the pipeline that they have in CD Projekt. So, okay. And now we need to thin out the wrist. Bones, or rather muscles, have a very interesting thing happening as well. As they approach their insertion point, they become very thin, very, or like it's a lot of connective tissue, all of the tendons and the ligaments and that kind of stuff. So you're gonna see this quite a bit in a lot of like creature design and a lot of like character design, where models are gonna get thinner as they go outside of the character. Ozymandias, what's up, my friend? Welcome. Channel. We're having some fun here with anatomy. There's usually two main tendons that you're gonna see there. Sometimes you see more, but usually two. And remember the little bony protrusion here on the pinky finger. Are you making a specific character here? Just anatomy, Jordebo. Right now it's just anatomy. Just practice. hand a little bit more gesture. So hands are very interesting, as Becker Draw is saying right here. They're very expressive. And then there's this stereotype, right? For instance, that Italians, they talk with their hands. And it's half truth. Half truth. That there's a little bit of truth to that. So what I'm going to do here, because this hand is sort of like very boring, so I'm going to give it the traditional sort of like gesture in hands. So when you have a hand and it's resting, completely resting, you can see that the fingers, they curl up a little bit, especially the pinky finger. Let me see if there we go. So the pinky finger is curling up a little bit. This is sort of like the resting stage of a hand, right? Like if you completely relax your hand, it's not straight, it's not completely straight and boring and tense. There's always a little bit of like movement or gesture. Very, very classical gesture. This sort of like grabbing onto something, right? Like imagine you're grabbing, I don't know, pull it right here. It's kind of like grabbing like something relatively big here on the hand. So adding that little bit of gesture to the hand can make your, for instance, this exercise right here look very, very nice. And I'm gonna start with the pinky finger. So what I do here is I go into mask lat. This is a very important technique. Like if you're learning ZBrush, one of the techniques that you need to learn is how to pose your elements. So you mask an area, you move the pivot point to that area, and then you rotate, okay? And then you mask the next area, so the next like part of the finger, you move the pivot point, and then you rotate, okay? And then you mask the last area, you move the pivot point with Alt, move, and then you go. That's the easiest way to pose something inside of ZBrush. Masking and transposing. Masking and transposing. It's very, very simple to do, and it will give you a very nice result as well. For instance, here, I'm also gonna move or rotate the finger in a little bit more. Like, as you can see now, that pinky finger has a lot more gesture to it. There's a lot more sort of like movement, more dynamism, more life. And that's gonna make the whole thing look a lot nicer. Let's go for the next one. So I'm gonna grab this finger right here. Move the pivot point right around there. Rotate it down. Not as much as the previous finger, of course. Find an angle there with the camera. Let's second one. Again, pivot point. Rotate the finger. Oh, and then just mask the final part. Move the point. And there we go. See how that hand starts looking a lot more interesting? Right? So instead of having the very traditional, like straight, boring hand, we start getting something that looks a lot nicer. For males, generally, the ring finger is longer than the pointer finger. For females, the pointer is a bit longer. Oh, I didn't know that, Hillary. That's a nice information. I'll do a little bit of research about that, but that sounds interesting. If you were modeling a female arm, way less muscle definition. First of all, it's a lot softer. Again, it depends, right? Because you can have, of course, a strong woman. Like there's some athletes, some reference. If you look, for instance, for female swimmer, you're gonna see that they have really, really strong arms as well. Like really, really like intense muscles because they use a lot of force. But it's not the same to have like a female swimmer than to have like a female like weightlifter, right? There was this picture a couple of years ago, and I use this all the time. Female Olympic body types. This picture is amazing because it shows you all of the different body types that you see at the Olympics for all of the different disciplines. And all of these guys are in the peak condition for their respective sports. But of course, the bodies, they're completely different. It's not the same to do weightlifting, that to do bodybuilding, that to do, like, I don't know, baseball, I think it's that one, or there's like ball that they throw. And same thing for the female athletes. Like every single athlete that we see right here is at the peak of their like performance that they need for their specific sport, and all the bodies look completely different, right? So every character is going to be different. That 1 3D artist says, question, I'm more of a storyteller than a character designer. Would you rather see a piece with more storytelling with a simple character design, or a great character design with little storytelling? Personally, I like storytelling more, but if you are asking for the contest, I would recommend to balance those two things as much as possible. So both things are going to be important. But personally, I prefer to see a simple character with a lot of story that you can like understand from the character than like an intense design that has a very boring story. Okay, so now we're going to go for the last finger here, the middle finger. Again, position the pivot point right around there, and we give it a little bit of a rotation. Mask the next area. Rotation. And sometimes the index finger instead of going or curling down, it sort of like curls up. So like points up a little bit more. That. I don't know what it is. Becker, you might have a little bit more knowledge about that from like classical sculpture, right? But it's very, very common to see the index fingers are like poking up instead of down. Like in a lot of sculptures, if you look at like a Michelangelo sculptures and like a Renaissance sculptures, you're gonna see this quite a bit. Solid Mango, what's up, my friend? Yeah, you're late. You are late. You're always very early, but today you are late. I did know this, huh? I did know this. I do know who's here in the chat, guys. I know we don't have like the biggest chat in the world. We have like, what, like 100 or so people watching right now. But I do recognize your names. I do know who is here and who's missing. But yeah, look at the difference, right? Like, look at how this hand looks compared to what we had before, right? Like a lot nicer, a lot more interesting. That's what we're looking for. Yeah, exactly, Aaron. The foot thumb tends to point up a little bit. Now here I'm gonna start exaggerating some features. Here in the palm, this is something that Bridgman used to do quite a bit. He would add like a little bit of an extra volume on this area. Push this here. See. Yeah, we're missing David today as well. We can really feel that David's missing. But don't worry, we'll see him soon. Oh. I would like to specialize in 3D clots for games. Any thoughts about that? I think there might be a niche for that in the upcoming years, Alex, because especially with what they announced on the last Unreal video, there's going to be more of an integration for Marvel's Designer. I think you might, if you want to do clots, there's more work in terms of like simulation and that kind of like creation in films right now. I'm not sure how specific, like it's a very, very specific niche that you're choosing right there. So I'm not saying that's not possible. I'm just saying be careful, because the smaller the niche, the tougher the competition, right? So let's keep that in mind. Usually character artists will be doing that. Why I'm saying. Soy Lotus says, hey, por ti le echo ganas a la escuela. Échenle ganas. Yeah, guys, if you're in school, even if it's a school that you feel like it's not teaching you all of the information, I mean, you're already there, man. So make the most out of it. Meet all of your professors. Talk to them outside of class. Ask for advice. Ask if there's anything you can help them with. Like, get involved, and your chances of being able to get the most out of that experience are gonna increase. I remember back when I was a student, it baffled me. Like, it was something like, to this day, I cannot comprehend. I sort of understand it, but at the same time, it's like, what the hell? I had peers who would not do the homework, not go to class, not present their final projects. It's like, dude, you're paying a lot of money and you're not like actually using the knowledge or making an effort. Like, what the hell? I mean, it's up to each person, right? But at the same time, it always like surprised me how people were so easy to dismiss the opportunity that they had, because there's so many people out there that do not have that opportunity. So you gotta be grateful, and you're gonna utilize that to the best of your abilities, right? Nice. How this is looking. Let's see. I daydream about all of us making a game together. Wish it was possible. Yeah, that would be great. If I ever win the lottery, guys, I'll start a studio, like a big studio, and I'll hire everyone, and we'll do a game just for the sake of it, even if it's not a hit. But unfortunately, we live in a capitalistic society where every dollar counts. Let's see. Do you recommend using default camera perspective when doing sculpts? That's a great question, actually. Normally, I turn it off. I don't know why I didn't before. But yeah, I'm going to turn it off right now. Off-topic question, Ave. I'm making a homemade salsa tonight. Knowing you are from Mexico, I wanted to ask, what is the fridge life of a fresh salsa? Around 2 or 3 days. roughly around 2 or 3 days. Like the first day is the freshest, right? And then the second day you're fine, and then by the third day you probably are gonna be on the last time using it. Sometimes it lasts longer. Just smell it. If it smells a little bit off, then time to go. But yeah, usually 2 or 3 days, I would say. Some can last like up to 5. The ones that you buy in the store, since they have more like conservatives and preservatives and things like that, is that the proper thing to say? I don't know. But if they have those like chemical substances, they're gonna last a little bit longer, of course. Do you recommend teaching others modeling to learn it better yourself? Yeah, I mean, sure. If you have someone close to you, like a friend or a family member, and they want to learn about 3D, and you can show them to them, yeah, you will learn. Like, teaching is a great way to learn, and I can tell you that from experience. Because teaching is not the same as knowing. You first need to know how things work, and then you need to find a way to explain them in an easy way for someone else to understand. And that's when you realize, like, oh, maybe I didn't know like perfectly well how things work, and I need to go back to the drawing board and learn a little bit more about it. So yeah, teaching is a really good way to the master and to ensure the people who will be teaching work Cyberpunk. Yeah, exactly, Jafum. Yeah, if you're gonna enter with a lot of people like who have a lot of experience in those sort of like games, make the most out of it, man. Like, make as many connections. You don't want to be obnoxious though, okay? Like, you don't want to be that dude that's always like, hey teacher, what's up, I want to help you, let me send you a message, and just like bothering them all the time, right? Like be cool, but be communicative. Like, ask questions, ask for opinion. Here's one of the best advices I can give you guys when learning from someone, right? Try to ask questions that are more in-depth than what you might usually find by just Googling them, right? So if I'm taking, let's say, a traditional like painting class, I'm not gonna ask the teacher, hey teacher, what paints should I buy? Like, sure, she's gonna tell you, or he's gonna tell you, right? It's like, hey, yeah, buy, I don't know, Winston paints or whatever. Or what brush should I use? Or like this perspective question that we did ask. And I'm not saying that was a bad question. Like, I'm fine with those questions, Giuwio. But if you instead of asking a simple question, try to elaborate that question into something that's a little bit more interesting, you're gonna be able to get deeper answers that not only are you gonna have or generate a more interesting connection with the teacher or who you're asking, but you're also gonna get more valuable information, right? So what I would ask, let's say I want to ask about paints. Instead of asking, hey teacher, what paints should I buy? What I can say is, teacher, have you noticed any important difference in the consistency of different brands of paint? Boom, that's a deep question, right? And I'm getting the similar answer of like, what paint should I buy? But I'm framing it in such a way that I get a more interesting answer, because the teacher might say, you know what? Yeah, when I'm trying to paint with sort of like very broad and sort of like soft strokes, I like using this brand of paint, or I like to combine it with this particular, like, I don't know, like substance to make it flow better. But when I'm trying to do something a little bit more controlled, I like using this other technique. That's a way more interesting, again, answer than what you might get if you just ask, what brush are you using? So trying to think about the right question to ask is very important to get very valuable information. But the better question for Sivers is, why are you not using perspective? No. If I had to frame it in a more interesting way, Lawrence, I would say, what difference do you find when sculpting with perspective on or off? Right? Because then I can tell you, oh, when I sculpt with perspective on, I can see a little bit more of the deformation that I might have when presenting a final render, because I'm going to have more distortion based on the focal length that I'm using. And then when I'm not using perspective, I can focus more on the silhouette and on the forms, because I know that they're going to be looking like right from an orthographic perspective. So that's going to give you a more in-depth answer, because the question is more nuanced, right? Like there's a lot more detail in how you're asking and how you're framing that question. Let's see. We should focus on doing someone else's concept or trying to do some character design for ourselves. Sculpting, it's okay for portfolio. It's okay. It's okay for if you are gonna do it for your portfolio, and it's perfectly fine to use someone else's concept. It's actually more like, because we're not everyone who is a 3D artist is also a 3D designer or like a concept designer. So it's better if you use a concept that's already there. Most of the courses, for instance, that I have, most of them I grab a concept. I of course ask for permission from the artist, and we work with that. this up a little bit. That will be a little bit more activated. I'm not sure if my arm is a little bit too long. What do you guys think? Oh my god. I'm not sure if this portion of the arm looks a little bit too long. I'm wondering if I should sort of like shorten it a little bit. Becker, you're really good at proportions. What do you think? Is the arm okay? I do feel it's a little bit long. By any chance, do you have tablet review and any on your channels? Have you tried the 24 Huion Canvas pencil load? Yes, I have a bunch of reviews. I've reviewed the Canvas 13 2.5K. I literally yesterday reviewed this new one, which is the Canvas 16 Gen 3. I reviewed the Canvas 16 from 2021. I've reviewed the Canvas 2022. So from tablets, those are the 4 tablets that I've reviewed. But I've also reviewed softwares. I've reviewed 3D printers. So yeah. Yeah, I do like long arms as well. But since this one's a little bit stronger, I'm going to make it a little bit shorter there. Add bit. ¿A qué hora mencionas esto de usar un concept de alguien más y que tú contestes a pedir permiso? ¿Puedes recomendar cómo romper el hielo? Yeah, okay. So here's how you ask for permission or for what's the word? Yeah, if you find the concept that you want to use and you want to ask the artist if you can use it, there's 2 things that you can do. You can use it, just use it, like don't ask for permission, but before you publish, you message them and say like, hey dude, I found your concept online, I was really inspired by it, and I created this piece. I would like to publish it on my portfolio. Is it okay if I tag you? And at that point, they might be like, oh no, don't tag me, it sucks, or whatever. Hopefully that's not the case, right? But they were like, oh no, that's fine, you don't need to do that. Most of the time they're gonna be like, yeah, sure, go for it. If you want to contact them before doing it, in my case, I need to do it because since it is commercial work, right? Because I sell the tutorials, I just want to make sure that we're fine with that and they're okay. Sometimes I pay for the concept. Sometimes they are super kind and they're just like, yeah, for sure, just use it. I don't mind. Just, of course, give us the credit, right? Like include my socials and things like that. In those cases, easiest message you can send is like, hi, my name is this, I'm a 3D artist, I would like to use your work, or I found your this piece of work and I think it's amazing. Here's my portfolio, I would like to make a project with yours. I just wondering if you're okay with that. Again, more often than not, like I would say 95% of artists are totally fine. Recently I've seen some artists on ArtStation including a little watermark that says do not use. And in those cases, well, it's pretty obvious that they don't want you to use it, so just find another one. But yeah, more often than not, they're just gonna be like super thrilled. Yes, as Berker says, they're just gonna be super thrilled that someone is using their concept. So just reach out. Like, you don't need to break the ice. I mean, you don't need to come up with like a fancy thing. One thing, this is a very important advice. Please, guys, please, we're living in an age with AI, and I know it's very easy to go to ChatGPT and say, please write a message that I could send an artist to ask for permission for the 3D work. I've received, I'm going to share what happened the other day. I received a message on Instagram. It was this dude, and it's like, hey, I'm building a website that's gonna be like Polyhaven for VFX assets. So it's gonna have like explosions and decals and things like that. Like, oh, that sounds cool. And he was like, would you like to try it out? Just like, sure, send me the link. And then he sent me the link, and he sent me a message that said, best way to answer politely to this message is, and then the message. So he literally copy and pasted the ChatGPT answer. So it was just like, dude, like you could just said, oh, awesome, thanks, here it is, and that's it. Like, why I don't know. I did not check the site after that because it felt very dishonest to me that you cannot take even 30 seconds to write a message. Like, you cannot be bothered by taking 30 seconds or 2 minutes or 5 minutes to just write a reply, like a human reply, and be like, thank you for your consideration, here's the message, just like, or here's the link or whatever. So my advice, if you're gonna ask for anything via email or via message, write the message yourself. Please, just do it. Like, it's not that difficult. If you need help, yeah, you might want to use ChatGPT just to get the general idea, but write it yourself with your words, with your intention, with your emotions, because it does show. It does show when a message is like completely fabricated, like AI fabricated, and when it's actually natural from someone that's there trying to say or to communicate with another human being. Let's see. forearm should be equal length to shoulder on the band. Yeah, again, it depends. Some arms can have a little bit of a difference, but yeah, usually it's pretty. It should be pretty equal. There's a little bit of a rule that I like to follow, which is that the arm, so from the shoulder to the elbow, should not be longer than the forearm. Called that the Popeye rule. It's against like a design principle, because then it starts looking a little bit weird. It's one of those. Play with the silhouette. I think it's a little bit thick. No, it was not a bot, because I told the dude, it's like, hey dude, like this message, it's AI, and it just looks like very off. It's like it's not a good. I think I told him, couldn't you be bothered by just like writing the message normally? And then it was like, oh, I'm sorry, I have a lot of things going on right now, and it's like, I don't know. It felt very disingenuous, to be honest. Do I watch every stream? I don't watch every stream, but every stream I watch, I try to thank you so much for all the content. You're the biggest influence in me starting 3D a year ago. Always learning, always improving. There you go, Kurt. Thanks, my friend. Thank you. It's all thanks to you guys. The same way you thank me, I will forever be grateful that thanks to your support, I'm able to do this. Hopefully, if we keep growing. By the way, we're very close to 50k subs here on YouTube. But if we keep growing, I might be able to do this full time. Just a stream and create content for you guys full time. Right now, we're not there yet, but it's been such a blessing. So thank you guys. Thank you for your support. I really enjoy teaching. So. What do I say is hello, sir. I'm a 3D student. I really like this concept art you did. Can I please convert it into a 3D form of portfolio? Yeah, exactly. That's usually the way to go. Yes, we have a new course coming very soon, Pencil Loath. Very soon. And I can tell you something. I'm not gonna spoil what the course is. I'm not gonna give you any hint or anything just yet. It's gonna be releasing, I hope, in the next. Well, I don't want to promise, but soon, by the anniversary or shortly after. So it's gonna be a couple of packed weeks. I was mentioning at the beginning of the stream that this was a great week because I was able to record a lot of content. So I went from like 15% completion of the course to like 45% completion, and that's good. So we're like at 45% right now, roughly. But what I can tell you is that the concept, talking about concepts, I contacted an artist, a great artist, freaking amazing artist. And he was like, sure, man, you can use any concept that you want. Oh, that's awesome. So I just picked a concept that I liked from his portfolio, and that's what we're going to be working with. Very cool, because it's like a very cool concept. It's pretty much like studio level concept. So the course is going to be it's going to be like a real case, right? Like it's going to feel like you're actually working on a piece for a big studio. No, it's not Toothwoo. It's not Toothwoo. No, I'm actually starting mentorships next week for Think Tank. So if you guys are enrolled in Think Tank, I don't have any more slots available, but they have 3 students now this term. Students. So I'm still doing. Let's see. What happens when you want to model a concept art that was used for a real project, like a game? Can I model and mention in the portfolio? Yeah. It usually falls under fair use. So remember, guys, that the main thing that you gotta be worried about in terms of like a copyright and things like that is usually, as long as you're not making money out of it, you should be fine. Like if it's just for your portfolio work or just for fun as a fan art, you're usually fine. Big companies, I'm talking Disney, Riot, Blizzard, Star Wars, like all of these guys, they're not gonna go and attack you or sue you if you do something that is not hurting them, and it's actually doing the opposite, right? Like it's pushing their franchise, it's making people more aware of the brand. So if you do a League of Legends fan art, for instance, Riot's not gonna sue you. But if you do a League of Legends fan art and then you do a mobile game with that fan art and then you try to monetize it, now we have an issue, right? Now we have an issue. Same thing for me. If I grab like a concept from a League of Legends character and I try doing a course about it, I could get in trouble because I'm monetizing or I'm making money out of a concept that's not mine, that I don't own, right? So it's very important that that you keep that in mind. If you want to play it safe, again, just ask for permission. Or another great advice that I can give you, look for anything that's on the public domain. So there's a lot of like very famous characters that are on the public domain. I'm going to give you an example. Sherlock Holmes. Like the stories for Sherlock Holmes, and I think even the designs, like the stories, like the written stories, they are on the public domain. So if you use that as an inspiration and create your own version of Sherlock Holmes, you're totally fine. Cthulhu is another like big entity. All of the mythology, any mythology that you can think, and pretty much every religion as well that you can think of. If you want to do a character from those like mythologies or religions, you're free to do that. That's public domain. So history characters, all of those public domains. There's a lot of things that you can do that are in the public domain, and that way you're completely fine. Like no one can, even Winnie the Pooh is now in public domain, right? The original design for Mickey is now in public domain. So there's a lot of things that you can do without the fear of getting screwed over. Yeah, the new version or the first version, the what's it called? Steamboat Willie, I think it's called Steamboat Willie. That guy is in the public domain. Is our session only needed for getting jobs, or are there other uses for a portfolio? I have the jobs in engineering. I'm only planning on doing Patreon type minutes for 3D print. It's a good question, Matt Crafter. If you're just gonna be doing that, then Patreon is probably your best bet. And trying to create portfolios on the most common like sites like Thingiverse or My Mini Factory, so that people can find your stuff, like uploading your models there. It's probably your best bet. You don't really need it, but people, I mean, I've gotten contacts from people who look at my ArtStation. They're like, oh, we have this project, can you help us out? And it's important to have an ArtStation if you want to get those sort of like leads. If you don't want to get into the industry, then yeah, it might not be like the most important thing. But again, it's free, so you can afford to just keep an eye on it. You'll also be fine. Let's see. Someone mentioned, I finished my think tank course 2 weeks ago, just refining my mentorship art. When I had to select a mentor, I tried you, but you were with all skills food. Yeah, I actually, it was funny because for this term, I activated 3 slots for my mentors, and the first slot was reserved like 2 months ago, and then the second slot was like 1 month ago, and the final slot was like 2 weeks ago. So they filled out quite quickly, and I think the limit is 3, so we can't have more than 3 mentees per term. So yeah, I'm sorry, Everton, that I wasn't able to help you out, but feel free to send me a message on Discord if you need an extra set of eyes to take a look at your work as you move forward with your mentorship. There's a lot of other talented mentors as well, so hopefully you got someone cool as well. I'm about to complete Dragon Skull and start Oni character from your course. Any tip you want to give me? Focus on forms, okay, Martin? Don't rush. Take your time, because the Oni is a challenging character. I was showing the 3D print at the beginning of the stream. So the Oni is definitely a complicated character. It has a lot of like very intricate details and things that you need to be mindful about. So make sure to really focus on forms, really focus on proportion, really focus on silhouette before you move on to the details. Because a very common pitfall for my students is they want to rush and start like adding more subdivision levels and more elements, and they ignore the basic stuff. Okay, so focus on the fundamentals. Like if there's one thing that I want you to get from the course, is the fundamentals. Details you can learn later, and you can refine them later, but fundamentals, oh, those take time to really understand. So yeah. Can you please define what the mentors do? Someone tell me that mentors don't give advice or service like a normal class. So what should I expect from a mentor? That's a great question. So, in my opinion, you should look for a mentor when you've already covered sort of like the basic things that you can about a specific software, right? So if you're learning ZBrush and you don't know how the interface works, you don't know how the tools work, that's not the moment to look for a mentor, because you can learn that for free here on YouTube. You can buy a course and learn how to do that, again, by your own. You don't really need a mentor to tell you, oh, this is the move brush, this is how you works. You use your pen tablet or your pen display to get the volume on the mouse. Now, you don't need that, right? It's not necessary. Once you get to a point, it's like, hey, I know the tool, but I'm stuck on the artistic side of things. Like, I don't know about anatomy, or I don't know about forms, or I'm struggling to match a concept. Like, that's when you can go for a mentor. And what the mentor will do, like, the main thing about the mentor is he's gonna give you the foundations or the explanation of why we do things, and he's gonna save you time. Like, that's the most important thing about the mentor. He's gonna save you a lot of time that you would otherwise spend researching or finding out about specific tool or finding out specific video. You can just go and, as I mentioned before, ask the specific questions, the nuanced questions about the things that you want to learn, and a good mentor should be able to guide you through that process, right? So for instance, with the mentees that I'm gonna be helping on the next term here at Think Tank, they all know how to use the tools. They know how to use ZBrush, they know how to use Substance, they know about UVs, they know about retopology. So my job is to help them with the project and help them refine and polish all of the steps of the things that they already know. That's my main sort of like goal or objective, my main function as a mentor, right? I'm gonna see what you can do and I'm gonna help you polish it. So I'm gonna save you all the time and all that struggle to really pinpoint the opportunity areas that you have and help you polish those. And you can ask here on chat, like I have a couple of my previous mentees here that can give you an overview of how I help them on that particular asset. But that's the role of a mentor opposed to a teacher, right? A teacher is there to show you and of course teach you, right? Like help you with the things, but it's more like, here's the information, now you do your own stuff. And a mentor is more like a one-on-one situation. It's like, okay, now that you know that stuff, let me help you polish that element to the next level. That's sort of like the level of difference. How to approach a mentor. I want to become a character artist for AAA games. Just like that. Like if you find someone who's got a cool portfolio online and you're like, oh, I would love this guy to mentor me, just reach out to them. It's like, hey, I love your work. I really like how you approach anatomy, design, proportions, whatever. Like you specify, it's kind of like a cover letter. Like you specify why you like their work and just ask them, do you offer mentorships? I would love to have an hour of your time, or I would love to ask you some questions. Sometimes they'll be like, hey, just ask me the questions. I don't have mentorships, but write me an email with a couple of questions and I'll get back to you, right? And sometimes they'll tell you, yeah, I do mentorships. It's this much. Some mentors have a very high price tag. Like that's where people, again, like become a little bit scared. It's like, oh, that's a lot. Like I could do a lot of stuff with that amount of money. But believe me, the things that you're going to learn, sometimes with just 1 hour, are totally worth the money. Like I've had my own mentors as well. Like I've had mentorships for some of the things that I've learned throughout the years, and it's like totally worth it. Totally worth it. It's a good investment, a good amount of money invested, right? But it's totally worth it to get that perspective and that information. Jael Vendor says, really love your content, Dave. Thank you for everything. You're welcome, my friend. You are welcome. I've enrolled in a small handful of mentorships, and from experience, each one is different. Some are one-on-one and others are group feedback. Some are watching a pre-recorded video and others are live lecture. The work is based on what they offer and what you're looking to learn. Yes, and very importantly, I would recommend do your research. Like do your research and figure out what kind of mentorship you're getting into, because as the 3D artist mentions here, it's not the same to have a one-on-one mentorship that is to have a group mentorship, that is to have a live group, than it is to have recorded sessions. Like everything is different. Some of them are going to be better for certain things, and some of them are going to be better for other types of things. Okay, so now we can start with the detailing stage. And here's where we can start looking at the main masses of the muscles. So for instance, the deltoid muscle has 3 main masses. One that starts here on the clavicles and goes towards the center. Another one that starts on the clavicle as well, but also on the scapula, here on the more sort of like midsection right here. This one tends to be a little bit bigger. And as you can see, I'm not really adding that much volume. I'm just using my clay buildup to sort of like create the fibers of the main elements, of the main muscles. And then another one that starts here on the back. This one's usually a little bit smaller, so they're not going to connect perfectly here on the front. I like to add this little like cut right there. Back of the Hulk-like. Yeah, this is a little bit, it's definitely getting a little bit stronger. So I'm going to use Stream Dynamic to sort of like bring this down. Carlos, yeah, sorry, I missed your question. This was used, it's a resin printer, of course, and this was the Saturn 3? Man. It's the Elegoo Saturn. Yeah, this one. Elegoo Saturn 3 Ultra. Elegoo sent it to me last year. Was it last year, or I think it was like 2 years ago actually? They sent it to me to review. They have a newer one now. They have the 4 and even the 5, I think. But this is the one that I have currently. It's really good. It's really freaking good. I love it. And it's not that expensive, to be honest. Right now it's at 7,000 pesos, which is like $350, $360. So not bad. For the amount of resolution and detail that you can get, and the size, it's a really good size, so you can print bigger things. Really good. Okay, now here's where we look for reference, of course. Bicep. For some bicep reference. You usually don't want to use reference where the arm is flexed, because there's a lot of like the muscle really pops, right? So I want to go for something that's a little bit more neutral. And another thing that I try to avoid is I try to avoid bodybuilders, because bodybuilders usually are not all of them, but most of them use substances, right? So the anatomy gets really not distorted, right? Like it gets exaggerated. Like it's a really intense anatomy. This one's so it doesn't look as natural, right? It looks cool if you want to again go for like a Hulk or like a very sort of like comic level character. You can get that, but it's definitely not realistic to get additional character. Let's mirror this again. Side, there we go. And as you can see, the brachialis muscle is not really a muscle that we're going to be able to locate as easily. I'm going to start blending the volumes. Here, the little bulge of the pectoral muscle that we've mentioned. In there, and blend. Clay buildup is great to blend. Softens everything. It sort of like fills the gaps very nicely. This muscle's a little bit too far forward, so adjust it. Wolf Girl with the subs! Thank you, Wolf Girl. Thank you very much. Yeah, UFC are really good, Becker Draw. I really like CrossFit athletes, actually. CrossFits tend to be, what's the word? They tend to be quite, they look a lot more natural. I'm not sure if they use any sort of like substances or anything, but they tend to be a little bit more natural. Shoulder rotations are a real problem during rig work. Do you think about it while modeling? Yes, I try to. That's why I try to keep a distance between the torso, right? Like not push it too far forward, and try to get the masses to look as right as possible. Because yeah, I know rigging these areas can be a little bit tricky. I feel like my biceps a little bit too long here, especially because it's contracting. So going to remove a little bit of volume here. When looking at a mentor, look at the art they're publishing, their style, and really read what their mentorship is offering. Understand what you're looking to learn. Is it anatomy, character creation, presentation? Compare their art style to what you want to create, and really see if it's a good fit. Also, ask around, understand what others thought about the mentorship. What are the pros and cons? Yeah, research. And here's another one. If possible, try to see if there's any demo, like YouTube videos or like a course or something that you can see how the teacher teaches. Because there are some artists that are really freaking talented, but they're really bad at teaching. Like they don't explain things, or they don't like really elaborate on the reasons why they're following or doing specific things, and those can be very difficult to learn from. Even if they're really talented in terms of execution, if they are not clear in terms of explaining, as a student, it can be very complicated to learn from. Can stylized painting hide bad anatomy? No, nothing can hide bad anatomy. Anatomy is one of those things that's very easy to tell, and even if you're not an artist, you can tell something's off. You might not be able to say exactly what is off or what's wrong, but anatomy is one of those things that you really don't want to neglect, because people will be able to tell that something is just like not looking right. I'm gonna give you a red flag. If you ask for a mentor, or if you're looking for a mentor and you try to talk to the mentor and they're hard to work with or hard to talk to, like if they get very defensive or something, that's a bad flag. That's a bad flag. Like recently I had a student that was asking for a mentorship, and he asked me a lot of questions. He was like, oh, I'm sorry if I'm asking too many questions. No. Ask as many questions as you want, man. Like, I want you to be as comfortable as possible, and I want you to be sure of what you want. Like, if we're not a good fit, we're not a good fit, and that's it. Like, that's fine. No hard feelings or anything. Very, very important that you do your research. Kind of like it's gonna sound weird, but it's kind of like when you're looking for a relationship, right? Like if you want to meet someone and you go for a cup of coffee and the vibe is just not there. Well, same thing could happen for a mentor. Like you might be looking forward for a very specific person, and once you meet them or once you start like learning about how they teach, you're just like, oh no, this doesn't vibe. Well, that's fine. Just find someone else. Livewar says, I was planning to buy your Substance Painter course. Can I learn advanced Substance Painter workflows from it? Well, I mean, chat, can you help me out? Anyone who has taken the Substance Painter course, would you consider it to be advanced? Or, I mean, we do cover quite a bit of techniques there, like quite a bit of stuff. It is meant to be a beginner friendly as well. So if you already have some experience with it, the first couple of chapters might feel a little bit too obvious. But if you are like if you want to learn some interesting approaches to the whole thing, I think you're gonna like it. Yes, makeup can definitely well actually let me rephrase that, Matt Crafter. Makeup is used to sort of like potentialize what's already there, right? So if you have someone, you can correct certain things with texture. Like it is possible. For instance, if someone has, I don't know, very sharp cheekbones, you could use makeup to sort of like blend them and make them a little bit softer. Or the other way around. If you have very soft cheekbones, it is relatively possible to make them a little bit sharper with a little bit of an illusion, right? But makeup is supposed to take what you have and make it better, right? Like a sort of like potentialize it or get it to its fullest potential. So again, I don't think you can get away with bad anatomy or bad forms just with texture. Did I miss your comment? Oh, there you go. I want to become 3D Generalist. How can I start and where to start? Or can I learn online like with YouTube and Chat GPT? You can learn, Shufam. But it's not the same as someone who goes to like an institute or to a school, right? Like you're gonna be in a little bit of a disadvantage right there. But you could potentially start. Like if you've never done anything in 3D, I would recommend the Blender course. This one right here. Here. This one. Or even the Maya one. Both of these are like super beginner friendly. The Maya Stylized Worlds and the Blender 3D AAA Weapon for Games. Because we go interface, basic tools, basic elements, general things, UVs, textures, like a little bit of everything. So those will be my recommendations for you. Okay, here's what I'm gonna do, guys, because I feel like I'm still missing a little bit of like volume here. So I'm gonna mask that area, sort of like to protect it, and I'm gonna push these elements a little bit higher. See how we have that right there? I go for a little bit like that. Make my arm look a little bit stronger. Masking is one of the most powerful things that you can do here inside of ZBrush, guys. Don't underestimate the masking options in the masking. Yeah, 3D Generalist is someone that can do a little bit of everything. So you can do characters, you can do props, you can do a little bit of environment, you can do vehicles, you can do guns, you can do, yeah, a little bit of everything. Polygroups are super healthy. Yeah, polygroups are also very good. Tapata boy, what's up, man? Abe, what is that slowly dims the light inside an artist? Not just the motivation to create, but the belief that their voice matters. And how do you protect the spark before it fades? Oh, now that's a nuanced question, right? That's a very deep question. Oh, man. We're gonna have to go full screen with this one. I think one of the things that I've noticed in my career as a teacher, especially seeing students, is the type of motivation that makes you do art, right? If you're doing art because it's cool, if you're doing art because it's fun, if you're doing art because you want money, the moment you don't find it cool, the moment you don't find it fun, or the moment you don't get the money, you lose the spark, you lose the motivation, you lose that sort of stuff. So it's important that you really find one of the reasons or the main reason why you like doing art. If it's to express yourself, if it's to tell a story, even if no one's going to hear it, even if no one's going to pay attention to it, and you find joy and you find fulfillment in that process, then that spark's not really going to die. Of course, we look for validation. Of course, we look for money to be able to sustain ourselves and pay the bills. But you do need to be a little bit crazy to continue to pursue art when there's a lot of other things that you could do to just get the money, get the prestige, get other things, right? And that sort of like inner spark is one of the reasons why, or rather, finding that spark that makes it work for you is one of the main things that I would encourage every artist to do. I can share you one of mine, right? I really enjoy learning. Like, it's just something that I really enjoyed and I've enjoyed my whole life. So eventually I found out that not only do I enjoy learning, I also enjoy sharing what I've learned through teaching. So being able to find those like points or elements that allow me to take this 3D and make it a career, make it something that I'm able to share with people, making something that is fulfilling for me and allows me to provide for my family. It's sort of like the combination of that spark. So even when I know, like I remember, you guys might remember, some of you might were there when we started this channel like 2 or 3 years ago. We had like 20 viewers at the time, right? Like 10 viewers, 15 viewers. And I was like, awesome, this is so great. Like 15 people are watching and they're like enjoying art with me and they're enjoying the learning process with me. So now we have like 100 or so. That's even better, right? But I'm still happy. Like if I was to go back to having 15 subscribers or 15 viewers, I would still enjoy it. And that's, again, part of being grateful about what you have and knowing that those little things are the things that matter, right? Yes, we always have goals. Yes, we always have things that we want to achieve or our dream jobs or our dream situations. Like I would love to have, I don't know, 1 million subscribers here on YouTube, for instance. That would be awesome. But even if I'm not there, I'm not going to be miserable because of that. So as an artist, you need to think of it that way as well. What is it that makes me enjoy doing art and enjoy creating? And as long as I can keep, as you say, that like spark going, then that's going to allow you to keep the motivation up and keep you looking for more, right? Like looking to improve and looking to be a better artist. If you're doing it for the other reasons that I mentioned at the beginning, this is not the career for you, man. Like this is not the career for you because money will come and go. I've had really good batches when I can like buy a lot of things and spend on upgrading my computer and do a lot of like cool shit. And I've had times where money is very, very tight and I need to cancel subscriptions and I need to cancel some of my softwares and use other alternatives because I cannot afford to pay for them. So it's up and down. So it's not money. Same for recognition. I've had projects where everyone celebrates you and everyone loves the result and everyone loves what you're doing. And projects that just are meh, okay. And it's like, oh, okay, cool. Yeah, here's your money. Thank you. That's it. So it's not about those things. You need to find the thing that really sparks that creativity for you. Okay. So yeah, it's a deep thought. I know it's sort of like a deep thing, but it's important to understand. And you can ask this about anyone who does things with a passion, right? Like again, athletes, artists. Like why are artists on Hollywood doing like secondary or tertiary jobs while waiting for the perfect edition? Why they don't quit? Because they love what they do. They want to have a shot at it and they're willing to take that sacrifice and take that risk. Why are book authors writing books even if no one's buying them? Because they want to express their ideas. They want to share their stories with the world. So those things, those elements that drives us to keep moving forward, those are the things that we need to be very careful in keeping. And understanding that even if you don't make it, even if you don't become a bestseller, even if you don't work at the top studio in the world, that doesn't mean that all of the effort and all of the things that you've done are worthless. Because even if you were able to make a contribution on a small amount of people, right, on a small community or something like that, that matters. That's important. And we need to learn to appreciate and value that as well. Let's see. Exactly. If I wasn't getting paid, I would still do 3D. It's important to keep that, but it's also important to understand, like, we have responsibilities, right? We have responsibilities to, for instance, I have responsibilities to my family. If at any point 3D does not allow me to provide for my family, I might switch careers. That doesn't mean that I'm gonna stop doing 3D. I'll still do it for fun on my free time. I'll still play with sculpting and 3D printing and doing all of these things that I love. But if I can provide for my family in another way, it's totally fine to do that as well. Okay? It's totally valid. Totally valid. Your life is your own, man. And this goes for everyone, right? Like, your life is your own, and there's no right or wrong thing to do with your life. Some decisions are going to be good decisions. Some decisions are going to be bad decisions, but no one can tell you how to live your life. And it's important that you do find your own voice within this. You find what works for you and what doesn't. No, we're not doing portfolio reviews right now, Harsh, but feel free to check back on the Discord channel. Remember, we do Discord channel, or we update the Discord channel information, and that's where you can find where the next portfolio review is going to be. We're probably going to have one this month. I'm still checking the schedule to see if we can accommodate for it. But yeah, Steven, that's excellent. That's excellent. And believe me, you're not the only one. There's a lot of people out there, especially right now in the industry where things are a little bit, up and down. If you need to find another secondary job and do 3D as a hobby for now, or just like keep improving your skills while you wait for your opportunity, that's perfectly fine as well. Perfectly fine. Deltoid is sexy. Yeah, it's looking nice, right? With my day job, I pay the rent and provide for my family, but art keeps me alive. Exactly. And actually, that's one of the best advices that I've seen, that the influencers that help with entrepreneurship, they say that. It's like, hey, if you need to have a job to pay for the bills, and then you can devote some of your free time to work on your hobby, eventually, sometimes, not always, but eventually, that hobby can become your full-time job, and that hobby can become your new sort of like a revenue stream. But you should not just drop everything and place a big bet just hoping that your hobby is gonna work. It could. For some people, it has, but for others, it hasn't. And it's also, I think, a little bit irresponsible to play with your life that way, because you're putting a lot of things on the line. Jael, why aren't you on Nextud anymore? Just curious. I got to know. Yeah, unfortunately, we had a disagreement in how things were being managed over there, and I left. I quit. Nextud was not my channel. A lot of people think that all of the tutorials from Nextud were mine. They are not mine. I was a service provider for them, so I was creating the content for YouTube and the tutorials, but I was not like, Nextud is not my brand. Unfortunately, again, we had some disagreements there, and we couldn't get to a agreement, and it was time for me to go. But I'm happy with the work I did there. Like, if you have some of my tutorials from back then, they're still very good. Like, I always, no matter where I am, I always try to do the best I can for my job. How's the chess going? I'm playing in the Las Vegas International Chess Tournament tomorrow. Oh, dude, that's awesome. I've been playing a little bit less this past couple of months, but I got back this last few days, and I got back to 1500 rapid. No, not rapid. 1500 blitz. Haven't played rapid in a while. I haven't studied anything, to be honest. I'm just playing my usual openings. I'm a huge Caro-Kann fan, so I've been playing a lot of Caro-Kann and Vienna with white. I need to start, like, if I want to get to like 1700, because I was 1600 once, I think, in Blitz. So if I want to get to 1700, I need to study more openings. I just don't have the time for that now. Yeah, I saw the match. I saw Magnus losing it. He got really desperate. I understand that. Well, it was not that I understand, but I can empathize because he mentioned that he doesn't like classical. Yeah. Yeah, I need to study. I really like Daniel Naroditsky. Like I learn a lot from his videos. A lot. He's really, really good. Like for instance, to me, Daniel is an excellent chess teacher because he explains things the way I like things to be explained, and I understand the concepts. Gotham, for instance, because he's another one of the big chess YouTubers, he's really good at entertainment. He's really funny. He's really like you get hooked up watching his stuff. He's really funny. He's really entertaining. But I do feel like he doesn't explain things as in depth as Daniel. Yeah, but same thing. Hikaru, I mean, he's a top player, but I don't think he explains things as nicely as other teachers do, like Daniel Naroditsky. I haven't seen the educational series from Hikaru. I'm gonna have to take a deep dive on that one. It's new? No, I haven't seen that one. Go. I'm just looking quite nice, I would say. I think I'm gonna do a hand-painted exercise with this one. It'll be cool too. Have like stylized arm or something. My PC specs. That's a good question. So I can show them to you. I recently upgraded my PC, so I do have some newer components. Forever. This is a point where we can definitely increase resolution. Working with very sort of like low resolution for a while now. If your Dynamesh sculpture is super high polygons and a part gets too stretched, is there a way to keep the details everywhere else and still re-Dynamesh? Yeah, you can just project them. But usually, again, if you increase resolution, most of the detail is kept. So for instance, right now we're at 500,000 polygons. So we go from 60,000 to 500,000. And at 500,000, like, do pretty much anything I want. Like, unless I want to go into, like, pores and wrinkles, 500,000 polygons should be. And the most important part in this stage of the process would be to clean up a little bit of the forms and the lines. Just blend them a little bit more. Because the clay buildup tends to leave a lot of, like, odd marks. Sometimes look cool, but a little bit too much. Build things out and just... I'm currently trying to advance my likenesses. I do exercise often, but don't finish them more often than not. Any advice on holding myself accountable? Oh man, that's a big question. Here's the thing, and I'm gonna give you an example from real life that I'm currently doing. One thing is, don't set a goal that you know you're not gonna be able to finish, okay? So if you say, hey, I want to, what's the word? I want to work on a likeness and I'm just going to do 2 hours of it. Make sure you do 2 hours, like 2 actual good hours. Don't get distracted by social media. Don't get distracted by Facebook or messages or calls or anything, Discord. Just focus on doing 2 hours of like honest work. Because if you say, I'm going to do 8 hours, I know you're not going to do it. Like 8 hours is a lot of time and you're going to get distracted and then you're going to feel guilty and then you're going to go into this sort of like loop or you're going to start doom scrolling or something. So make sure you have a goal that's very achievable so that you don't fall short, right? Like, so you don't miss it. And another thing, you know how they always say that your word is very important, like your promises and making sure that you're honorable and things like that. You should be honorable with yourself as well. So don't promise something that you're not going to be doing. I started eating a lot healthier this past couple of months, and I told myself that promise, like, hey, like if I'm going to promise myself that I'm going to eat healthier, I'm actually going to do it. And I've fulfilled that. I've been able to lose a lot of weight in the past couple of months thanks to that and thanks to exercise. But I'm not giving myself like impossible goals. I'm trying to be very very conscious about what I can actually do. Okay? So those will be a couple of my advices there for you, my friend. Have to go. Starting getting stuff ready for tonight's party. Mexican theme for the Oilers game. There you go, man. Have a good one, Casey. Save some salsa for me. Also got Franny. Happy Friday. I can watch people sculpt an enemy for hours. I find it to be satisfying. Oh, thank you, Franny. Thank you. Yes, an enemy is very fun. Very relaxing, I would say. Galvan, what's up, man? What's up? Oh yeah, the specs. So there we go. So I have an AMD Ryzen 9 9950X 3D, which is, I think, right now top of the line for processing power. Well, except for the Threadripper, right? But for the Ryzen 9, it's like the strongest one that they have right now. I have 64 gigabytes of RAM. 64 gigabytes of RAM at 3000. But for some reason, right now, it's not at the core speed. I need to check that because it should be at 3000 or 6000. So this should be 3000. And it's just a normal motherboard, nothing too fancy. A couple of SSDs and things like that. And for graphics cards, I have the 3080 Ti. That's the last part that I need to upgrade. But graphic cards are extremely expensive nowadays, so I'm probably going to be waiting. Do you have any idea how the workflow for modeling changes if you're using the Unreal Muscle Deformation System? No. I need to explore that. I definitely want to get into that. You usually model the same way, but then you sort of like rebuild the muscles or like the volumes inside of Unreal so that when you move them, they sort of like inflate. So you still need to do or sculpt your characters traditionally, I would say. How to finalize on a reference? Just make a pick, man. Just take a pick. Don't delve. That's we call that analysis paralysis. It's not a condition, but it's a behavior that we sometimes get, and especially us as artists. I think we suffer from that quite a bit. Analysis paralysis is when you overanalyze stuff. Just act, man. Just act. Like, don't wait for the perfect reference. Don't wait for the perfect like project. Don't wait for a perfect tutorial. Just do it. You just gotta do it. You'll learn from it, and then you look for the next one. Because if you start like waiting and hoping to get like again the best thing, it's gonna take forever. Analysis paralysis, so try to avoid that. You please make a video on wrapping in Maya. It's complicated. I have plenty of those on the channel, man. Just look for UB. Like I've mentioned this before. Here's what you guys do. You guys go to YouTube. You look for Abe Leo 3D. Go to the channel. And then here on the channel, you click on this little thing and you look for UV. Boom. ZBrush, UV Master Explained. Everything you need to know about UVs. 5 steps for great results. UV Short. Maya tutorials. 3 tips for grained UVs. 3D prop modeling, UV and layout. 5 steps for clean UVs. UDIMs, how to use them. Texturing tutorial, Nanite, we include UVs right there. 3D prop modeling, UV creation and optimization. Look at that. I got, I don't know, 30, 40 different videos about UVs and how to approach them. So you can find them right here, man. Same thing for anatomy. You're warning for an anatomy, you look for anatomy. There we go. The course, tutorials, this, that. So go to the channel, look for it. We have over 400 videos, so I'm sure you're going to find something there, man. Sure you can find something that you're looking for. I do have videos for, I don't want to say every topic, but a lot of the topics. How often do you do live streamings of sculpting? Every Friday. Every Friday we have live streams, Steven. Not every Friday do we sculpt. Sometimes we texture, sometimes we model, sometimes we have portfolio reviews. We have a contest going on, so one of the live streams is going to be the review of the contest. So it changes, but every Friday. Miriti says, hi Ave, I'm just learning to sculpt and I noticed that every sculptor works differently in ZBrush. Some use zero measure, divide for the model, some use crease dynamics of the... Yep. There are differences, Miriti. There are quite a bit of differences in terms of the type of resolution or the type of topology that you get. When blocking in, so for instance, on this arm, we started with a mannequin. When blocking in, I personally like using Dynamesh because it's faster. But for instance, at this point where we have like a good form and good detail, if we want to optimize our model a little bit more, it is a good idea to jump into a subdivision method. Do you want me to show it? I can show you how to do that very quickly here. The Big Brush says, nice practice, man. It's going good. I just want to thank you for your content. I learned a lot these days. You're welcome, my friend. You're welcome. Okay, so Miriti, here's how you can jump between Dynamesh and subdivision method. Okay, very easily. First, I'm gonna press Control Alt and click on my history right here on the top. That's gonna create a history point. It's gonna save this information as part of all of the history. Then I'm gonna go Geometry, Series Mesh, and Series Mesh this whole thing. I'm not even gonna do loops or anything. I'm just gonna Series Mesh. Remember that we have almost 500,000 polygons. There we go. So now we have this low poly version of the arm with more traditional topology. It's not animation ready topology, but it looks good. It's giving us a nice result. What I can do now is I can press Control D 1 time, 2 times, 3 times. And as you can see, we now get closer to the original resolution that we had on the Dynamesh. Now, the only thing I need to do is go to Subtool, go to Project, and use this option that says Project History. And it's going to go back to that point that we just saved. Remember, we Control and Alt to save that information. And it's going to project all of that information into our element. So now, as you can see, we got all of the same detail that we had before, all of the brush strokes, all of the details, the wrinkles, everything, but we now have clean subdivisions. So what this allows us to do is we can quickly, with Shift D, jump down to some lower subdivision levels, adjust big forms, big shapes, and then jump up to higher subdivision levels to add the detail. That's it. It's a very easy way to transform a mesh or go from a what's the word? A Dynamesh workflow to a subdivision workflow. Just transfer everything. If you want to have cleaner meshes, right? Like if you want to do retopology and things like that, that's another that's another video there. But it's possible. And then if you are working in subdivision and you want to just jump into Dynamesh, you just click Dynamesh with a high enough subdivision or resolution, and you're good to go. Yeah, not big guy. I actually, and thank you Wolf Girl. I recently made a video about PC building. So if you look for PC build, it's this one right here. Ultimate PC build guide in 2024. I did this last year, so some of the components have been updated, or you can look for updated versions. But the principles on what things to look for are still the same. Not big guy. So yeah. Oh god. Some water, Sam. My voice. How can I turn a displacement map a normal map? Really good question. I don't know. Teradox with the raid. Hey guys, welcome. I think it's one of the first raids we've ever gotten. What's up, guys? Oh, hello. A little bit of anatomy sculpting today. Practicing some arm sculpting. We went over some of the principles. Muscle structure, muscle formation, all that stuff. Thank you for the raid, Teradox. Be sure to check your stuff once we're done over here. Is it a mistake to use the smooth brush often? I feel like it creates a clay. I don't like using a smooth brush as much. I prefer to use trim dynamic because it keeps my planes cleaner and it softens the form. Yeah, as you mentioned, like smooth brush will soften things a little bit too much. It works for certain characters, right? Like if you're doing Disney style characters, that's very common. But yeah, for my realistic stuff, I prefer to do trim dynamic. What's a raid? Twitch has this thing where if everyone's watching, you can end your stream and then jump to someone else's stream with all of the viewers that were watching your stream, and that's called raiding. Yeah, 20 visitors here from our good friends Pterodox. What's your opinion on OLED monitors? They look very nice, but they're very expensive. I don't have any. My tablet is like a normal IPS tablet, and the monitor that I have over here is also a normal monitor. I think the only OLED things I have is my cell phone, and it does look very nice. But yeah, I don't have. Again, they're good. I mean, if you can afford it, it's. Not in love with the bicep. Oh, I feel like it's a little bit too big. Yeah, welcome guys, welcome. We're streaming on Twitch and YouTube as well. Raiden does not include pillage and plunder. In old times it used to. It used to. Not nowadays. Thank you for the follow, guys. Thank you, thank you. Actually, up so that I can see following. There we go. Pterodox for the follow. Blanco, Mishur. Still using an older Wacom 22-inch monitor I got for cheap on eBay, and it works great, so don't feel the need to get the best new monitor. Yeah. Yeah, no, I think we get this sort of like fear of the FOMO, right? Like the famous FOMO. And we're like, oh, we need the newest, shiniest thing. Nah, you don't need it. Like, for instance, I don't change phones. My phone is an Android phone. I love, it was a Chinese phone. It's a Xiaomi. I really like the brand. And I don't change phones frequently. And I have friends who change phones every year. It's like, dude, what the hell? What do you need it for? Faster TikTok or what? It's not like they're doing like app development or anything. I call that shiny object syndrome. Yep. What's the thought on UE5? Oh no, UE5, dude, is looking great. I mean, UE5, Unreal Engine 5 was amazing. I've been using Unreal since 4.15 or something like that, when I started doing like the VR stuff. And when we jumped to 5, I was like, oof, this is awesome. So yeah, it looks very, very nice. And I mentioned this on the short that I uploaded, that one of the things that's gonna happen is we as artists, we're gonna have to really up our game. Really up our game to account for all of the new things that we're gonna be able to do in Unreal. The quality bar is just getting higher and higher. Work harder. Awesome, Pterodox. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for the raid, man. I export a displacement map from high poly and I take the low poly to Substance Painter and I use that exported displacement map, then is it necessary to have a normal map? Not necessarily, Eren, but you can use it to exaggerate some of the details a little bit more. So I've seen some people that will use displacement map, normal map, and bump map, like all of them. But yeah, you really don't need the normal map because the displacement map is supposed to change the actual silhouette of the element, and you're gonna get the exact same details, right? So technically, you don't need the normal map. I would encourage to have a bump map for like high frequency detail, but not necessarily for the silhouette. I know someone who bought a new Switch and only plans on playing Fortnite on it. I'm really tempted to get a new Switch because I do want to play the Donkey Kong Bonanza game that's coming out. But I'm probably gonna wait. And maybe for my birthday I'll get it. It's expensive. Here in Mexico, it's like $700. Ridiculous. Let's add some veins. Very important. So on the bicep, there's usually some important veins or very sort of like common veins. There we go. It's called the cephalic vein. That's the sort of like the most common one. And as you can see, and this is another one, I don't remember the name of this other one, but this one usually goes on the inside of the bicep. You can see it right here. And it tends to be quite big. I'm gonna copy this reference. Yeah, that looks very, very cool. Let's do something like that. Again, since we're working with just one arm, we can quickly just mirror it. Oh, no, we cannot mirror. Can we mirror? Okay, here's a... Let's see if it works. Because I want to mirror it, but it says that we cannot mirror because we have subdivision levels. So what I can do here is I can freeze the subdivision levels. That's why that little thing works right there. We mirror this thing, and then we unfreeze the subdivision levels. Nah, it doesn't work. It doesn't work because it's on a different stage. Okay, let's do something else instead. Let's just do a mirror, like a normal mirror. Go. So now we have a normal mirror, and we... Oh, freeze. Let's unfreeze. Let's normal mirror here. That way we can work on this arm, and we can delete the other arm at any point. So one of the ways I like to do veins is I use my mask pen, and I draw the vein. If you try to sculpt it directly, you usually get some very sort of like ugly looking veins. Sculpt it. The veins will usually have smaller, so like branching out elements. And the reason why I like doing this is because, as you can see, it's not a consistent like depth or thickness to the vein. Some areas are going to be a little bit thicker, some areas are going to be a little bit thinner. Again, the phallic vein is coming from... On the forearm, we also get some, as you can see right there, coming from the... And the veins are a good way to break up the sort of like the uniformity of the arm a little bit. Not necessary all the time. Again, it really depends on the character. And invert the mask, and then with clay buildup, I'm just gonna give it a little bit of a pass. Not too intense. And to generate a little bit of variation. Some people like using inflate. It works as well. Remember, in 3D, there's not just one way to do it. Ways to achieve the same result. Yeah, Pepperoni. The video will be on the channel. I have it on YouTube as well. If you're on YouTube, don't forget to subscribe. We're really close to the goal. I'm pretty sure we're gonna get to the goal of 50K for our anniversary at the end of the month. That means that maybe in just a couple of years we'll get to 100K and we'll get the little YouTube plate. I don't think they give you anything else. Just that looks cool. It would be cool to have it. I think I will place it like right there. There we go. That's it. So now we remove the mask, and as you can see, we're gonna have the veins here. And now it's just a matter of, again, smoothing things out a little bit, sort of like blending them so they're not too intense. Still not in love with something. Like, something is not working for me, and I think it's the hand. I think the hand looks too simple still, because we're still just using the base mesh. So how much time we have left? We have like 45 minutes, so focus on the hand on those 45 minutes. Now, I don't have both arms, so I'm going to go all the way to the bottom again. What the hell happened here? Well, interesting. Can you guys see that? Really interesting problem. Okay, let's solve it. So the interesting thing here is, for some reason, when I did the mirror, it did not copy all of the information. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to delete this thing right here. Hide this thing. There we go. And then I'm going to say geometry. Delete hidden. And this one, it might have the proper topology, and I might be able to use this option called reconstruct subdivision. No, it's not doing it. So something broke on the like resolution or element for this thing. Again, not that big of a deal. What I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna go here to to the history, mark a history point. Here we go. Mark the history point. There we go. And then I am going to delete hidden. Remesh again. Control D a couple of times. And reproject. There we go. Now, as you can see, we're back to having normal topology and all of the banes and stuff. So we just recovered everything. Reminds me of Zeus from Dota. Ooh, I haven't played Dota in a long time. Should nails always stay as a separate tool to the final piece? It depends on the project. Sometimes yes, sometimes no. Normally, I like to keep them separate so that I can give them a different shader and I can get a different material. But again, it depends. Do you think that just knowing one software is a huge limitation, or students don't care much about the software you're using? In case I just know how to use Maya and ZBrush for modeling sculpting. You usually want to have one DCC application, like Maya or Blender, one sculpting application, which is usually ZBrush, one texturing application, which is usually Substance, and if possible, one image editing application, so like Photoshop. Like knowing how to use Photoshop is really powerful. If you have those four, and let's say Unreal Engine, that's it. Like, you're good to go. My immediate thought was the dude from Ratatouille. Linguini? Like Linguini? Okay. So let's go on the hand. And the hands are a little bit tricky. What we need to do here is just give the hands a little bit more strength, right? They look a little bit too flimsy right now compared to the arm. So let's start with the knuckles. A bit more form and detail here on the knuckles. A little bit more volume to really like push them up. I think they're a little bit thin, the fingers, so I'm gonna inflate them a little bit, just a tad bit, not too much. I want to have like sausage fingers. A little bit, someone mentioned, a little bit stronger. And now the fingers have a very interesting thing. I'm gonna grab one finger. Show you this. So when seen from the side, one of the things that we want to see on the fingers is a strong sort of like silhouette on the top, and then a smooth or softer effect on the bottom. Okay, because the bottom part of our fingers is the cushiony bit, right? Like the things that we use to hold things. We want this thing to be a bit puffier. There. New strain dynamics start strengthening the fingers, right? Hey, Rash! Congratulations, my friend. Got a girlfriend now. Take good care of her. Clouds can be skinned to armature. In engine, you can use physics on both chains and or add clouds fixed to piece and more loose. Yeah, that's right. Normal can be useful if you work on a realistic project, but if I have low poly in Substance Painter, I may not be able to get those tiny details like pores and wrinkles of my head. Sorry, being on the... No, that's fine. In that case, I mean, if you already have the high poly, just make the high poly into the low poly so that you can work inside of Substance, but then do that inside of... what's the word? Do that inside of... So you do like a traditional game pipeline with normal map and textures, and then you still keep your displacement so that you can render all of the geometry in Maya or Blender. Harden this a little bit more right here. And then the nail bit. This is very, very important. This is why this finger is looking like a sausage. We need to go here where the nail bit would be and push that in. Important. Have the nail bit, then the finger looks weird. Eventually, we can add the nails. Some people, again, they like to add the nails directly here on the finger, again with a mask or something. Both of those options work. In this particular case, the most important thing is the as you can see, that finger is going to start looking a lot stronger than the other fingers that we have. Berg, what's up, man? Here. Some anatomy practice today. Arm. Now, if it's a little bit too intense, we can always... I always like to hold my forms a little bit more intensely. And then once we are happy with that, we tone it down. Now, bring it back. Of course, here, we're going to have tendons. That. Out. Stronger. Awesome. Yeah, go for it, man. Go for it. We're still gonna be here for another half an hour, okay? Also, thank you for the advice you gave me for rendering part cinematic soldier character. When did I did that? In the last portfolio review, was it? Or was it on the channel? Oh man, I answer so many messages and sometimes I forget specifically about one. I'm sorry. But yeah, you're welcome. I'm glad the device was helpful. Is it important to make the background for the character? For the contest or for portfolio? For the contest? No, not really. For portfolio, it depends. It helps. It's a good idea. It's a good way to make the scene a little bit more complex, right? And sell the character a little bit better. Oh, there you go. Yeah. When we were in the room on Discord. Awesome. Yeah. Glad that was helpful, man. For the event, again, if you can afford the time to do it, then it works. But I would focus more on the character if possible. Because that's the most important part, right? A little bit more meat here. Puffiness to this part of the hand. Look at how much difference it makes, right? Like now that we have a stronger hand, now it's just looking a lot more interesting. Or realistic, a lot stronger. That's what we want. And that's why I always mention, and I'm actually, I just remember I mentioned this quite a bit on the latest, on the course that I'm recording right now. It's important to never judge things without the context, right? So we cannot say, oh, the arm looks bad until we finish the hand. Because the way the hand looks can really change or bias the way we are evaluating the rest of the elements. So the hand or the arm might be right, like it might be like exactly where we need it to be. But if the hand is not finished, it might feel off, and we might overcompensate or like change things or modify things on the arm that we really don't need to change because we were not finished with the rest of the elements. For the request for humanoid characters, does that mean that an eel-like character would not be recommended for the contest? I would not recommend an eel-like character unless you can make it work, but it's going to be really, really, really tricky. I feel like that's a little bit too out there. For this creature, I will make not productive ready, but I will texture as a UV layout and ready. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, we're not going to evaluate topology or that kind of stuff. We're just evaluating the final results. This might sound like a dumb question, but how would you do a low poly cylinder but with clean curves, a soft looking, sharp edges? Well, yeah, it's not dumb. It's not a dumb question, Jafum, but it's a little bit of what's the word? It's an incompatible request, right? Like you cannot have a low poly cylinder with clean curves. Like that's not how it works. It can't be done. It's like if I ask you to do a squared or a square that's a circle or something like that. Like it's not possible, right? But it is possible to use a couple of tricks to optimize certain areas of an element and get the result that you're looking for, which is a smooth sort of like surface with what's the word? A smooth surface with a low poly count, right? So I actually did a similar exercise a couple of weeks ago. So imagine we have this shape right here, correct? And we want to optimize it a little bit. We want to have an even smoother surface. If we check the silhouette right now, the outer edge of the cylinder looks very faceted. It's only 20 sides. So if we want to make those 20 sides look a little bit nicer, what we can do is grab all of them and bevel them, right? Like that. So by doing that, by beveling those edges, we get these triangles right here, but we now have a very smooth or a smoother surface on the outside because we have more sides, right? That hopefully is quite easy to follow. And then what we can do is we can start optimizing all of these elements right here. So if we start collapsing them, right? Up here, I'm gonna grab every other edge. And that way we start saving a little bit of poly count by simplifying some of the cylinders that we have here on the inside. Okay, there's an easier way to do it, but I already started selecting this way. Going. Well, the point is, if we simplify or collapse some of these elements right there, especially because the silhouette's not going to be visible on that side, right? Like when we look at from the top, what we're interested the most is the outside silhouette. We can optimize some of this stuff. Okay. Okay, what's up, my friend? No. We've been streaming on Twitch and on YouTube for forever. For forever. Juan dice, me tengo que desconectar si me lees. Gracias por responder mis preguntas. Espero poder revisar las partes que me perdí más tarde. Muchas gracias, Juan, por aquí, por haber estado. Nos vemos pronto. What do you usually use for grooming, Abe? I only have experience in Action and Blender, but I've heard a lot of grooming artists use Houdini for complex hair. I use Action. Most of the time. I've used Ornatrix before. That's another system. It's available for Maya and for 3D Studio Max. I'm not sure for Blender as well. I haven't used Houdini. Actually, Houdini is on my list of softwares that I need to learn. I need to start learning Houdini. Some tools there that are really, really freaky. Jerry B, thanks for the resub, man. Thank you very much. Hey, why don't characters have sweet stains on their armpits? Isn't it attention to detail? I've seen some with like in the texture in the cloth. You might see some of those. And I know what you're like mentioning. You guys need to remember that there's a very important thing about character design, and that's the fact that as artists, we do know that certain characters might be missing or can be improved with certain decisions. But at the end of the day, since this is a business, it also has to do with what sells, right? So I'm gonna ask you a question. If you make a female character and you darken the armpits areas, which again is very common, very natural, completely fine, and then you have a character that does not have the armpits darkened, if you show that to an audience, which do you think the audience is going to like more? And the answer, of course, is the one that doesn't have the darkened armpits. Why? Because we've been told that that's the sort of like the beauty standard that people should be going for. Again, you can blame anyone you want. But the point is, one of those options is going to sell more than the other, right? And at that point, from a business perspective, right, from a business decision, you need to use or ignore certain details that might not be as well received as others. That's just the reality of it. Not saying I agree with it, or I'm not saying I am against it. It's just that's how the industry works. Okay? Just sort of like the tests that they do, and they say this works, this doesn't work. We use this, we do not use this. I mean, it would be the same question that I could ask about like male characters. Why don't we see more, chubbier game characters? Like, I've never seen a character like me that's a little bit bigger, right? Because it doesn't sell. People like to see athletic characters. They like to see Superman. They like to see Batman. They like to see Captain America. That's the kind of stuff that they like to see. That's the kind of stuff that sells. So that's how it works. If I want to make a game or a character that's going to be a little bit chubbier, well, I can do it. But I'm going to very quickly realize that that's not what people are going to necessarily resonate with, right? So that's another sort of like cultural thing that we're going to need to fight for if we want more of that kind of representation. What pen tab are you using? I'm currently using the Canvas 16 Gen 3. It's one of the newest tablets by Huion. You can check on YouTube channel. I just did a review yesterday actually about the tablet. They sent it to me, and I went over all of the specifications and the things that this new tablet offers. Really good one. I really like it, to be honest. I'm really enjoying my time with this tablet. Thank you so much for, sorry, I got another one here. Akeno says, hey Abe, would you have time to look at my portfolio at some point? I really value the feedback as it's my first month, but I'm trying to take it quite serious. Sorry if this is against the rules. No, it's not against the rules to ask. I don't do portfolio reviews unless we're doing portfolio reviews for the stream, so I won't be able to take a look at it right now. However, you are free to submit it for portfolio review, but there's a little bit of a catch. If you're telling me that you're just starting your 3D journey, it might not be the best idea to focus on your portfolio right now. Like, you should not be focusing on creating a portfolio if this is the first month that you're doing 3D. You should be focusing on learning the tools. You should be focusing on learning the softwares. You should be focusing on learning the workflows. Learning about high poly, low poly, bakes, UVs, retopology. That should be your main, like, point of focus for now, my friend. Portfolio comes once you've mastered those things, okay? So, best piece of advice I can give you right now, don't focus on creating a portfolio, focus on learning the tools. Once you have a good understanding of the tools and you feel comfortable with the different workflows, then you start focusing on making a portfolio that showcases that mastery of the tools, okay? But your first month as a 3D artist is not the moment to be doing or focusing on the portfolio. And I know this might sound a little bit of a harsh advice, but it's just not the moment, man. Imagine like an athlete, like a top tier athlete, like someone who wants to play at the NBA. He's like, hey man, I just started playing basketball for the past month, and I want to know where can I go so that recruiters can see my skills. Like, dude, just been playing for a month. You don't have skills yet. So I can tell you, but it's not. You're not gonna get the best information, right? Because again, starting. I've done art outside of 3D for a while, and I'm mainly interested in concept splash art, so quite a few skills have transferred, but I understand. Yeah. No, and that's fine. Like any skill that you have is definitely useful. Like it can definitely be helpful for 3D, but give it time. Like keep working on your skills, keep improving on knowing the softwares and incorporating with what you already know about art. And then I'll be more than happy to showcase your portfolio here in portfolio review, ¿ok? Abe, ¿me puedes ayudar con esta pregunta? ¿De qué manera puedo trabajar, mejorar o facilitar el proceso de bakeo de detalles de modelo high poly o low poly, especialmente en zonas complicadas como las axilas y la ingle? Yes, Nico, of course I can help you. Here. I have a video about that. This one. Marmoset Toolbot Bakes, the best baker for 3D assets. Check that one, because on that one I explain how cages work, and cages are the most important thing, Nico, that you can use to get clean bakes, okay? So it's this one right here. We released it like 4 months ago. Do you often do this workshop of anatomy to improve? No, this is actually the first time we're doing this workshop. Do you like it? Because if you like it, we might do it more. I do have the anatomy course available on my site where I go over all of these things in more depth. But this is the first time that we're doing like an anatomy workshop. I wanted to try something different, so seems like it worked because you guys are still here. You guys are still watching, so I'm guessing it's and that's interesting to you. Steven Cameros, yes, please do more of this. Roma, what's up, my friend? Yeah, long time no see. How have you been? I've been looking for a job for a year now. I've done some NFT work. I hated it. I've been applying to indie studios, but still no luck. I need to improve my portfolio, but do you have any advice? I would need to see your portfolio, man. It's going to be a little bit complicated to give you specific advice, but networking, portfolio, and working on your skills, posting stuff on your Instagram, if you have an Instagram, or on your Facebook, like letting know people that you have the skills and you know how to use them. All of that is things that you can do to improve your chances of landing a job. When will you start fixing students' works videos? Oh man, I would love to do that, Mango, but it will require a lot more time as well, so I'm not sure. That right there. Like it. How much does education matter in the 3D field, or just the portfolio matters? Most of the time, just the portfolio matters, Epico. But I've mentioned this before, and I also have a a video about that in case you want to check it out. That one's called Traditional Education. This one, The Eternal Debate: Schools or Self-Education for Success. Check that one out. It's like a 30-minute video of my opinion of what things work and what things don't work. You do get some perks when going to a school or when going to a university, because you get network, you get opportunities. There's usually events, there's usually get-togethers, you go to conventions, things like that. So it opens up things that can help you land something. But it is expensive. It requires a little bit more time investment. It requires other types of efforts, right? So it really, everyone's different. Again, like I've seen people who are self-taught who get like a job at like top tier. So I remember actually when I was at Nomen, there was this get together. I don't remember. They were called like mixers, and I met a guy who just got hired at that point to work at Riot for the BFX department. He was doing like all of these like very cool BFX and attacks and all of this stuff, and he was showing me some of the stuff. It looked amazing. It's like, oh dude, this is so cool. And I asked him, where did you learn this? He's like, oh, by myself. So he was a self-taught artist. He was from the other part of the country, and he moved to LA to work at Riot. This was again 10 years ago, so I'm not sure if he's still there, but it was fun. It was very interesting to see or to hear that he was self-taught and he got a job at the top tier studio, right? So it's there's so many variables out there. The thing I can do is just give you some advice. Which full anatomy course or tool would you recommend for a semi-beginner? Oh, why me? I may recommend mine. This one. I made this one last year. Oh, not that one. This one. It's called Anatomy for 3D Artists. Let me post the link here on YouTube. You're on Twitch in case you guys want to check it out. So that's the anatomy course, and it's a 20-hour course where we go over all of the anatomy for the body: face, hands, body, torso, arms, legs, feet, back, skull, like everything. And at the end we focus on the there's two chapters at the end, so that we do the 3D printing. We 3D print the whole thing. Let me show it again. Some of you were not here at the but and at the end of the course I show you how to prepare the character for all of the possible things: hair, hands, pores, skin, toes. I show you how, bit of everything. And that course was a collaboration that we did with Elegoo, because they sent the printer so that we could try it out. And we use two printers. We use a filament printer for the base, and we use a resin printer for the other thing. Yeah, sorry, I was getting far from the microphone. That's. ¿Tienes algún curso similar a ese pero para hard surface and ZBrush? Not yet, Isaac. Not yet. The ZBrush course that I have is the Oni one, and we do cover a little bit of hard surface because we do some armor pieces for the Oni on this one. Some of the armor pieces do require like C-modeler and hard edges and things like that, but it's not as heavy in hard surface. I do plan on doing something like that relatively soon. Can you hear me now? Yeah, sorry about the sound. I was just mentioning that that sculpture was part of a collaboration that we did with Elegoo a couple of years ago. I know only sculpting, but I want to make game characters. So what would you recommend to master the sculpting first or to learn everything at once? I would recommend first the sculpting, because the sculpting is probably the hardest thing. Retopology, which is the game ready character or the game ready part of the character, it's technical, but it's easy to learn. I also have the retopology or the topology course that we did with Topogon. And it's a lot easier to teach, I think, because it's just following a process. Like, you don't need to think about anatomy or form, silhouette. So if I could recommend something, I would recommend learning how to sculpt first, because it's a lot easier to transform a sculpt that's very nice into a game ready asset than to show you how to do everything at once. Soften that up a little. For here, we would expect to have the wrinkles that we normally get on the elbow. Do you always model in orthographic view? I tend to change a lot while modeling. Yeah, I would say 95% of the time I'll model in like with no perspective. The thing is, with perspective, things can change quite a bit, especially when you get really close or we have a lot of foreshortening like this. It can be a little bit difficult to judge things. So, but it's fine. Like if your forms look good in orthographic, they're gonna look good in perspective. So it really doesn't matter that much. It's more of a matter of what you prefer. Why my models aren't getting split up where internal lines are in ZBrush even though I exported welded from instead of full rendering? Sorry for the spam. No, don't worry, Aaron. I would need to take a look at the files. You might want to share those on the Discord. Might be easier to give you an answer there. Hi, new to the channel by Isotop. I like it here. Do you have a regular schedule for the stream? Yes, Isotop. We stream every single Friday at 9 a.m. Mexico time, which right now is the same as Mountain Time, I think, in the US. Because we don't have any more daylight saving time, so schedules change a bit. But every Friday, we stream every Friday. And sometimes we have special streams. Like today, I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to stream the summer games. The Summer Game Fest. But sometimes we stream those as well. But the default stream is Fridays at 9 a.m. I'm going to have to end the stream in a couple of minutes, in about 15 minutes. But we have the recordings on our YouTube channel as well. So if you are not following us on YouTube, feel free to join us there as well. We upload videos every week, shorts, everything. Do you think low to high workflow to avoid retopo is a good way to make props? Certain props. Certain ones. Not every single one, but certain ones, yes. Can you explain why the wrinkles would be on the elbow if it's curled? It's just a texture. Well, at least I have a little bit of texture. But yeah, you're right. Like, we wouldn't expect to see that much wrinkle. I was just trying to add a little bit of texture there. It'll probably be a little bit less intense, a little bit more stretched out, right? Do you have some videos where you change your advices because things change with the time or not? Like, I don't know if in 3D printing you use some new methods. I mean, yes, like the newer videos will always have my newer sort of like experiences or advices. Like if you take some of my old courses, there are things that are now outdated. Like we don't do that way, or I've improved as well. And now I teach things in a better way, clearer information, stuff like that. So yeah, I do change the things and the methods, but most of the fundamentals stay the same. Can you please tell me where can we use triangles in any model, or is it important to have quads? You can use triangles in any model. Everything gets triangulated at the end, but you need to know where to use them. Triangles are double-edged swords, Youngmi. So if you know where to use them, you can use them. If you don't know where to use them, try to avoid them. But yeah, you can use them. The good thing about anatomy is that it's the same today as it was 50 years ago. Yeah, that's exactly right. Although in like a couple of 1,000 years, they say we're gonna be losing our some of our toes. Like they might all just get welded into like something like docks or like some weird membrane stuff because we don't use them as much to climb trees. So our feet might change in a couple of 1,000 years. You guys want to see something cool? Let's take this into Maya and just do a quick test to see if it bends properly. Okay. So, of course, I'm not going to take the high poly. I'm going to take the low poly. Let me export this. X. Okay. Go to Maya. File. Import. Let's turn off the material that I hate. There we go. So this would be, it's a little bit dense, but especially now with AAA games, like a density of this might not be that weird to have, to be honest. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna say mesh skeleton, and let's create a couple of joints. We're gonna start here, shoulder, elbow. Properly position them. there. Right around there. Right around there. Actually, we're missing one bone. And so this is rigging. For those of you that are new to this, this is what we normally do to animate a character. So we create literally virtual bones that are gonna move all of this different things. You're undiscovered gold mine. That's nice to hear. I'll take that as a compliment. If you have to redo a workshop anatomy, how do you cut the body to really improve? I mean, what kind of cut recommendations you can say it's worth, like her, you did arm, forearm, or hand? Normally I divide things in modules. So it's like torso and back, it's one module. Arms are another module, legs are another module, and then head is another module. That's how I have the course divided as well. We focus on those particular areas. I think that's a good way to sort of like break things down. Currently, I'm working as a graphic designer trainer at some institute for over 6 months now. Will this help in my 3D career? What? Anatomy? I mean, if you want to be a character artist, then yeah, but I'm not sure exactly what you mentioned. I need help with sculpting lip texture. Any advice or good tutorials that you know? You need forms. Again, it's the fundamentals, Fretted. Like if you can have good forms on your lips, then adding the texture that the alphas is very simple. You can use X, Y, and Z textures. You can use alphas. You can use a bunch of tricks. So it's the forms of the lips that you need to. I don't know if I have a video about that, to be honest. Remember, sculpting lips in particular, but we do sculpt the face on the anatomy. Okay, so now what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna grab all of the joints. Form joint. Why do we have else? Grab the joints. I have a transform there that shouldn't be there, but shouldn't. For this quick test, we're gonna do a bind skin. I'm gonna use geodesic voxel. Yeah, let's hit apply. Water. Alkira Yagacedes dice, hola Abe, compré tu curso de Maya Hard Surface en Udemy, me está encantando mucho. That course was when I was in Nextut. It's a great course. I think you're really gonna enjoy it. It's a fun one to learn about box modeling and all of the important information. Just quick note, my friend, I don't get any money from Nextut anymore, so those videos, unfortunately, I'm no longer part of the team. If you wanna support and learn, the new stuff is gonna be here on my website. So 3d.com. I'm gonna link here in chat. Okay, so the new stuff is gonna be there. But yeah, like that one, I really enjoyed doing that one. You did the toaster, right? The toaster was the first exercise. We don't talk about Nextut anymore. That'll be our little secret. Okay, so yeah, that's it. The geodesic voxel was done. So now the only thing I need to do is check if it bends. Chef's kiss. Look at that. Look at that band right there, guys. Look at that. That's what I call it, good anatomy, guys. I'm sorry. I need to be a little bit of a dick right now, but this works. This totally works, right? This is why, if you have good fundamentals, if you have a good sculpt, and you have a good like a deformation, everything just like works very nicely. I still think it's a little bit thin here. I might like it feels a little bit stylized there on the arm. Small change that I might do. This. You see, the hand is the one that's gonna deform very badly. Probably not that bad. The beauty of rigging, that we now can have multiple poses. And if your stuff was done properly, then have any pose that you want. Oh, yeah, there we go. So that's a quick test I like to do, and I do have a video about AccuRig, which is another software that you can use to test your characters, your models, to see how they deform, how they move, and if you do it properly, it's gonna work. Like if you follow the process, if you have good foundations, if you have a good process, if you have a good anatomy, then when you get to the important part, which in this case is the deformation of the character, it's gonna deform just fine. Let's see. Let's just answer a couple more questions, and then we're gonna be good to go, okay, guys? Because I gotta keep working on some other stuff. Everyone's journey is unique. My mentors taught me to start small, sculpt a hand 3 times, then the arm, then the torso, then the full body. Yeah, that works perfectly fine. When making a 3D portfolio, do you think having original works is better than making a 3D interpretation based on other people's works? Usually you want to do other people's works, to be honest, for portfolio, especially if you want to get into studios, because that's what you're going to be doing at the studio, right? They're going to give you a concept and they want you to match the concept as close as possible. It's okay to have your own stuff every now and then to show some of your unique taste or your unique like design or your vision. But more often than not, when you're working in the studio, you're not going to be making creative decisions. You're going to be following a process. You're going to be giving a specific concept or a specific piece of art, and then you need to do it in the best of your abilities. What about a similar course or revamp, hard surface modeling for Blender? Would you consider creating that course? Yeah, I could do that. I've been focusing on doing more specialized courses this past couple of years because I did a lot of general courses, like very general knowledge. But yeah, it might not be a bad idea to do a hard surface modeling course for Blender. I haven't done a lot of Blender, to be honest. I need to brush up on that, but that might be a good idea. My trainer tells us last day not to use too much poly for game assets, so unique triangle, and at the same time he tells us to keep the mesh clean and quad, and this thing confuses me. So Jungi Min. One thing that you need to understand, and this is something that I've been very, very intense about, every single project is different. It's not the same thing to do a model for a game engine such as a phone, right? Or like the Switch that has low resources than it is to do a game or a model for a PlayStation 5 or for PC. It's not the same thing to do something stylized like League of Legends where everything's going to be super low poly than it is to do something like Wayfinder that's going to be hand painted but it's going to be higher poly count. So every single project is different. So the rules that you are taught when you're at school, they are more like guides, not necessarily hard rules that you always need to follow. So some projects you're gonna have to use only quads and very low poly count. Some projects you're gonna be able to use triangles and you're gonna be fine. Here, let me show you something. You're gonna laugh with this, but it's something that's really interesting. Marmoset. How about Mixamo? Yeah, Aaron, Mixamo also works. Let me find the asset real quick. So let me show you this asset that I did a couple of months ago. This was gonna be for the environment course. As I've mentioned before, that course beat me, meaning that I was trying to make it work and it just was not flowing nicely. So I'm gonna have to redo it eventually. Roughness, DVD or the map. Okay, so I did this stone. It was part of like chapter 1, I think, or chapter 2, where we were going over like sculpting stones. I already did a video actually on the channel in case you want to check it out. But yeah, so this stone right here. This stone right now has 10,000 triangles. It might seem like it's too much, but for the level of detail that we're able to capture, it's working fine. Let's turn on ray tracing so that we can see everything to its fullest potential. So it has 10,000 triangles. It's only occupying 0.86 megabytes of VRAM. It's only occupying 1.94 megabytes of memory. So it's, I would say, a little bit heavy, but not completely heavy, right? Let me show you the wireframe. this off so you can see a little bit clearer. What do you think of this wireframe? What do you think of this wireframe? Because normally, if you're shown a wireframe like this, you're like, this sucks. This is too much geometry. It's a lot of triangles. There's no flow to it. Like, this looks horrible. But the thing is, this is perfect. This wireframe right here, for the purpose that this stone is going to like do on the game, it's perfect. Okay? It might be a little bit heavy, like we could potentially optimize it and get it to 5K or something like that. But this is what exactly, like Alan is saying, this is exactly what 3D scans are doing nowadays. If we use this with nanite, for instance, no big deal. Even if we use it without nanite, because this asset's not going to be deformed, because this asset's not going to have any sort of like animation or anything. It's just going to be like a literal rock on the graveyard, right? Like, it really doesn't matter. Remember, guys, topology is a tool. Is not something that you always need to pay attention to. It's something that needs to fit the specific project that you're doing. It's not this topology, of course, is not something that I would use for a topology like this that needs deformation. In this particular case, of course, we need clean topology. Of course, we need quads and everything so that all of the muscles and all of the elements deform and blend or change to the position and the forms that we need. But if we're doing something like an environment asset that's only going to be there on the world, it really doesn't matter, okay? So this is what you're going to learn, Jungi, as you continue working in projects, and as when you get to the studio, they will tell you, oh, for that asset, don't worry, you can do whatever. It's going to be fine. For other assets, hey, in this one, we do need you to be very careful. We do need to have very clean like textures or things like that. So it really depends. And that's the horrible answer that I hate giving, like it depends, but that's the truth to it. Every single thing that we do will be dependent on the type of project that we're working on, okay? So it will really depend on what we're doing. Can I show you the UV map on this one? Yes, 1 second. Get this to Maya. Modeling, UV editor. It's the most horrible UV that you're also gonna see, but this is perfect for this kind of asset because we really don't need anything else. Again, if you look at the nanite assets that you can get from the FAT store or from Quixel, you're gonna see that they follow a very similar approach, because for this kind of stuff, it's fine. You're not gonna use this for a character, you're not gonna use this for a weapon, like you wanna have cleaner elements or cleaner UVs in other elements or in other things, but for this one in particular, perfectly fine. Okay? Nice thing about quick to poly and unwrap is being able to make changes rapidly and see the final result in minutes. Yeah, exactly. You don't need to worry about topology for this kind of assets. And even this one could deform a little bit. Like you can still rotate it, right? You can still scale it. You can still duplicate it, instance it. Like you can do a bunch of things with this one. This is what they do when they're building like caves and big environments. They literally just take these things and just like modify them until they get something that looks or works the way they need it to work. So it's not that big of a deal. Okay, we need to understand again, most of the rules that we have in 3D are more like guidelines. They work, or the reason why we have them, the reason why we teach them is because they work and they're going to give you a good result. But if you need to bend them, if you need to break them, if you need to change them, as long as the final result works and it doesn't affect anyone else in the pipeline, right? Like you're not destroying your rigger, or you're not making it impossible to render something because of the poly count or things like that, then it's fine. It's going to work. Don't worry too much about it. Okay? Always ask your client, always ask your art lead, always ask whatever or whoever you're working with if it can work, right? Because you're not just gonna make decisions hoping that it's just gonna work and that's it. So it's how you think about it. Okay? So yeah, that's it, guys. We had a great time today. A lot of questions and very cool conversation. I think I really enjoyed it. Hope you guys enjoyed it as well. Only that we finished this very cool looking arm that, again, I think I'm going to be doing something cool with this. I'm not exactly sure what. I know I said I was going to do some hard surface, but we didn't really get time to do that. Maybe in another time. But yeah, thank you very much, my friends. If you want to keep up to date with more 3D stuff, make sure to go to YouTube, follow us, make sure to like, share, subscribe. It really helps the channel, as you guys know. And if you want to see a little bit more about in-depth anatomy, I linked a course that we have here. I'm going to link the page again here on the chat, so you can check our website. And there on the website, I have specifically an anatomy course that goes in a very similar way to how we approach this arm, but over the whole body of a character, a full character. So thank you, everyone. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your conversation, for your questions, and I'll see you back very soon. Bye-bye. Oh, well, don't forget, always learning, always improving. That's it, guys. Have a great weekend.